I hope you liked that. I just want to take the time real quick to just thank everybody for their support. We were live earlier and I premiered this Starting Soon screen with the song is just a simple song that I got from the YouTube audio library, but I liked it. I thought it was like a cool chill vibe. Let me go ahead and stop sharing that screen and let's head over to the playlist that I made for us to watch tonight. Let's everybody, you know, keep Crown Empress in our thoughts, send her some positive vibes while she takes care of business. And I found a few videos from earlier. They're all from today. It looks like I was able to find like 23 videos, so we'll be here for a little bit, probably not as long as earlier. But yes, so thank you everybody for being here. Let's start with the first video, just jump right into it. It's called Murder Suspects' Interactions with Multiple Women May Be One Key to Upcoming Denver Jury Trial. And that's going to be courtesy of 9 News.
Is Robert Feldmann? Or is it Robert Wolf, as he allegedly told one woman? Or Bob White, as he appears on Facebook? A conservative Jew in his mid-50s, as it says on one online dating profile? Or a reformed Jew in his mid-40s on another? And really, why does any of it matter? Here's why. Because this is also Robert Feldmann, murder suspect.
He contacted me through JDate.
He seemed genuine.
Stephanie Shoemaker.
He was very charming.
And Tracy Fagan.
He seemed really nice. He was interested in me as a person.
Don't know each other, but they say they each went on one date with Robert Feldmann, completely unaware of what had happened to his wife, Stacy. It was March 1st, 2015. Robert Feldmann called 911, saying he'd found his wife in the bathtub unresponsive. Stacy Feldmann, a mother of 2 and a prominent member of Denver's Jewish community, was dead. The circumstances shrouded in mystery. Denver's medical examiner ruled the cause of Stacy Feldmann's death cannot be determined. Then an outside doctor brought in by detectives years later concluded it was strangulation or suffocation, a homicide. In 2018, police arrested Robert Feldmann. His trial on a murder charge is now set for September. It's getting a lot of attention in his neighborhood. There will likely be a battle of experts over the cause of death. Also likely, a focus on Robert Feldmann's relationship with women, before and after his wife's death. The star witness? A woman who says she slept with him after meeting him on Tinder, believing he was divorced. Then she became suspicious.
So far, this is like a scary story for single people that use dating apps. Even the music is like spooky as hell.
Learned he was married and revealed the affair to Stacy Feldmann just hours before Stacy's mysterious death.
There was a pool in his community, is what he had said, and then we were going to go to dinner.
It sounded like an innocuous first date to Stephanie, who met Feldmann in a grief counseling class after his wife's death. After arriving,
I found out the pool is in his backyard. So almost instantly I felt like there was something off when I got there, but I thought maybe I was just overreacting.
As time passed, she says there was talk about how secluded the pool was. And then she says he led her upstairs. That's where she alleges Robert Feldmann sexually assaulted her.
At that point, I just was in survival mode. It was like I wasn't even there. It was happening, but I wasn't in my body when all that was happening. Just had to do what I needed to get out.
A few weeks later, she reported the incident to the police. No charges were filed.
It was a very typical get-to-know-you first date. We took a walk with my 2 dogs for about an hour.
It was early 2019 in a park just around the corner from Feldmann's home. She knew him as Bob, knew he was widowed. After that first date, they stayed in touch. She says Feldmann pressed her for a second date, and she suggested meeting for a drink.
He kept referring to coming over his house and making me dinner, and that's not really what I consider appropriate for a second date.
So she asked, why can't we just meet for a cocktail?
And he said, well, I have some legal troubles, and I'm not allowed to leave the house.
Legal troubles? She typed Robert, Denver, house arrest into a Google search.
The 9 News article and lots of other articles came up. Couldn't believe it.
She cut off all contact. Stephanie and Tracy are not alone. 9 Wants to Know has spoken with other women who went out with Feldmann. They declined to go on camera. And while numerous court documents in the case are sealed, prosecutors have signaled that they're going after Feldmann's alleged history of infidelity, evidence regarding a domestic violence case, and maybe even the sexual assault report by Stephanie.
I'm glad I followed my intuition and didn't go over there.
I wish I would have went with my gut instinct and left when I knew something was not right.
It is scary.
I really don't want any other woman to be in that situation.
In September, it'll be up to a jury to decide just who Robert Feldmann is and to answer the most important question of all: is he a murderer? Robert Feldmann's attorneys did not respond to our request for comment today. We have much more on this story at 9news.com. As for that swimming pool that parents have been renting out for their children this summer, the city of Denver has sent Robert Feldmann an order telling him to stop doing that.
Wow.
Shows feet.
So it went from a scary story about dating on apps to a nightmare when it turned into a sexual assault, and I hope he gets everything he has coming to him. If I find any, updates on this, of course, I'll let you all know. The next clip that I picked was kind of heart-racing, considering this poor guy, what he went through trying to help someone that was in need. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch it. It is called "I Must Have Hit 100 Miles Per Hour. Good Samaritan rushes brothers hurt in drive-by shooting. Crash to Chicago." And I'm pretty sure there's more to that, but it cuts off there. And it's going to be courtesy of WGN News.
Fear on his face as an Uber driver rushes to the hospital, frantically trying to save a man's life. WGN's Tanya Francisco is live in the South Loop with this incredible story. Tanya.
It is an incredible story, Micah. It begins with a drive-by shooting on 29th and Federal. Even though the driver was hit by multiple gunshots, he still manages to drive away, trying to find an emergency room. But he ends up crashing in the South Loop near Roosevelt and Clark. And that's when the Good Samaritan Uber driver comes to the rescue.
He lost so much blood.
An emotional night for Michael Bussin as he recounts the harrowing night he had when his SUV suddenly became an ambulance. Bussin, an Uber driver, was dropping off a fare in the South Loop near Clark and Roosevelt when he heard a crash. His camera was rolling as he pulled up on the accident scene. That's when a young man limped over, asking if he could take his brother to the hospital. He had been shot multiple times in the stomach area. Without hesitation, Bussin said,
Hi, Nicolette Moore. Thank you so much for stopping by or being here. I need to stop saying stopping by.
Get in my car. Get your brother. Let's go. He's like, you take us out. Let me get both of you. Get in my car now.
You hear how high-pitched his voice is? He sounds like what sometimes people call gentle giant. You know, when somebody's like very big in size, but then you get to know them and they're actually like really mousy. I guess that's the word I'm looking. He just seems so like high energy, but like really mousy at the same time, like not threatening at all. You know what I mean?
I must say at 100 miles an hour at some points.
With the camera still rolling while they were rushing to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, you can see the brother who was shot in agonizing pain.
Because the kid in the back kept talking to his brother saying, I love you, bro, no matter what, I love you. And the kid's just like, stay awake, stay awake. And the kid kept dozing off and falling over. He hopped over the other one. He said, you gotta stay with me, man. And he called his mom. His mom was a nurse. And his mom's just sitting there talking to him. He's like, you gotta do something to stop that blood, baby. You gotta do something. He's like, use your shirt. He pulled off his shirt and pushed up against it. And the kid's like, ah, he's like, you know, painful.
Despite his good deed, Bussin is angry with the others who stopped to take pictures and videos of the crash, but refused to help the brothers.
What's the value of a young man's life? And you know what it is? It's 50 shares. It's 100 likes. It's Instagram. It's Facebook. Those people that are there, I swear to God, I wish I could yell at all of them right now.
Me too.
You can still hear his pain many hours after all of this took place. He has stepped in touch with the family. He tells us that the young man who was shot is 21 years old. He has 2 young children, and he is now on a ventilator because he lost so much blood. Bussin's still thinking about this family. He wants to start a GoFundMe page to raise money for them. but it may actually be Bussin who needs the help in the end. His vehicle, because there is biohazardous material in there, he can no longer transport passengers, which means he can no longer be an Uber driver. And his insurance company is telling him that because so much work needs to go in to get that vehicle back up to par, that he may actually be totaled.
So his vehicle might be a total loss, considering all the blood that was shed in it. That's truly unfortunate. And you know what? I honestly have nothing against crowdfunding if it's for the right reason. I think there's nothing wrong with the community putting their resources together and helping somebody out in need, because things happen all the time and not everybody has the resources to prepare that much ahead. So I support this case because that's really sad. He went through a lot to save somebody's life when other people were standing by and just trying to get likes and shares on their social media platforms. It's really sad to hear about that. The next story that we're gonna look at is involving an officer-involved shooting that happened. His name is Anthony Alvarez, and this is out of Chicago. It's called COPA releases CPD body cam video of Anthony Alvarez shooting, and this is courtesy of CBS Chicago.
And now you're looking at police body camera video of two Chicago police officers running after Anthony Alvarez in a Portage Park alley. Seconds later, he was shot and killed.
Why were they chasing him? We don't know, because police in the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, COPA, won't tell us. But 27 videos released today are giving us a better idea of the moments before and after that shooting.
We have team coverage tonight with Marisa Vedra on a new timeline for changes to the department's foot chase policy. But first, Chris Ty in our Streetside studio. Chris, take us through what happened.
So, Brad and Erica, in cases like this, the questions that often determine the outcome are the same. What crime triggered the chase? Was the suspect armed? Was the officer's life in danger? Tonight, some, but certainly not all, of those questions are answered. Two cameras appear to confirm that Anthony Alvarez did have his back to officers when he was shot and that he was armed. This from the officer's body-worn camera. While you see a gun on the 22-year-old's left side, closer review reveals it was in his right hand, fully stretched the width of his body, visible to the officer behind him who fired the fatal shots. Hey, drop the gun! Less than a second later, those shots are fired. Alvarez falls to the ground. The second camera capturing these crucial moments from a doorbell cam. It shows a gun in Alvarez's right hand falling behind the stairs of a stranger's home where this all occurred in Portage Park. In the seconds that follow, why are you shooting me? You had a gun! Police reports identify the shooting officer as Evan Solano. Before an ambulance arrives, Solano begins chest compressions, then turns Alvarez's belt into a tourniquet to try and save him.
Stop moving! I'm trying to help you! Stay with me, man. Stay with me.
The foot chase that started it all began at this Shell station on the same block as the shooting. A network of cameras captured police pursuing from the gas station, down the block, and up the alley. But why were police on his trail to begin with? CPD won't say. COPA only tells.
You heard that? Why were they on his trail to begin with? And they won't say. If they don't say on this video, I want to say that the next one that I found had somewhat of a reason, if you want to call it that.
Telling us he was, quote, an individual familiar to the officers. Mayor Lightfoot today saying this fatal incident stemmed from a minor traffic offense. Alvarez was taken to the hospital where he later died. Erica, that officer tonight remains on administrative leave as the COPA investigation continues.
Chris, the mayor said it stemmed from a minor traffic offense. What do you know about that?
So sources are telling me tonight it was not an event from that evening. That traffic incident was not from March the 31st. It was from days or weeks prior. But as we saw, he was on foot. He was not in a vehicle in those early morning hours. But as far as what it was, what exactly was the incident that put him on police radar, even his family's attorney says they don't know.
Okay, so we have that. Hi, Patricia Jackson. Thank you so much for being here. You finally found me. I'm so happy. Okay, so let's look at the next clip, and it is somewhat of a continuation from the last one that we just saw. It's called Changes Coming Soon to Chicago Police Foot Chase Policy, and that's going to be courtesy of CBS Chicago.
Marie Saavedra now joins us. Marie, it seems we finally have a timeline for the police department's new foot pursuit policy.
We do, Brad, and it's more concrete than it has ever been. As recently as just a few weeks ago, the mayor was saying it would be done sometime this summer. Now she is saying May. Still, critics say every day between now and then is a matter of life and death. You are watching a sequence of events that experts say is one of the most dangerous activities for police, suspects, and the public.
Hey, drop the gun!
On March 31st, Chicago police shot and killed 22-year-old Anthony Alvarez at the end of a foot pursuit.
Please stop!
Just 2 days before, on March 29th, CPD shot and killed 13-year-old Adam Toledo at the end of a foot pursuit. The teen's death renewed what's been years of calls for CPD to finally adopt a policy on these chases.
Shots fired by the police!
Now, after Alvarez's death, there is finally a draft.
We are at the point where we have a draft policy that we're sending out through internal focus groups for feedback from our officers.
CPD Superintendent David Brown says they are currently gathering reaction from line officers who are out in the streets making these high-stakes decisions.
It's a policy that could have been in place a very long time ago.
Sheila Betty of Northwestern's Pritzker School of Law works with groups who've wanted.
I get, Black D Spider said hashtag comply, and I do notice whenever I look for videos, and I look at the comment section to see what people are saying, and there will always be that person or that group of people that come in saying if they would have just complied, there wouldn't have been a problem. But the thing in this situation, at least they're not saying what it was that triggered them to even start wanting to, talk to him or pursue him or whatever. So to him, he's just walking around. Who knows what's going on through his mind, and all of a sudden he's being chased down by police. People are afraid, tensions are high. Now's not really the time to start running after people and expecting them just to comply, when it's really looking that like cops are out here just looking for anybody to murder. Let's continue watching this clip.
Wanted this policy for more than a decade. She believes it should define more than just when police can chase.
The issue is also regulating when police officers can engage with an individual, when they have the ability to stop somebody, when they have the ability to investigate on suspicion of what offenses.
In both of these cases, decisions made in tenths of a second ended lives. Betty wants the policy to save them.
The reality is every time a CPD officer is initiating that contact, there is a risk of death. And I think these two videos really help prove that.
Now, after this internal review is over, the draft will go to an independent monitor who is overseeing police reform. From there, it will be presented to the public, and we'll be sure to let viewers know when that is so you can look at it, because the department does want feedback. We are expecting that to be sometime, according to the superintendent, in the next few weeks, Brad.
Huge issue, Marie, for them has always been training. Does the department have a plan for training, actually training officers once it does nail down this policy?
The superintendent said not yet. What they are waiting for is a final draft of the document, a true policy that's formalized. From there, they'll build the framework to do the training to make sure that these officers know what that is by heart.
Okay, Marie, thank you.
Okay, this is probably gonna try to play. Watch.
A former Bristow police.
As soon as I minimize it, it starts trying to play. Yeah. Okay, Patricia says, with COVID going on, people are losing their mental capacity. It's really messing with people's mind. That, and then compound with, what's going on right now with officer-involved shootings. People are getting downright paranoid. And sometimes some of these stories, the way they're told, it makes me feel like people have a good reason to be. It's really sad. Let's continue looking at these videos. I wasn't able to, move them around. I just kind of saved them however I found them, so there's really no order here. The next one is called Former Bristow Police Officer Pleads Guilty in Child Sex Abuse Case. KJRH TV, Tulsa.
A former Bristow police officer pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a child under 12. Bradley Gooden is convicted of abusing the girl in 2 separate incidents in 2019. He pleaded guilty this week and will spend 15 years in federal prison as part of a plea deal. Gooden's
What do you think is going to happen to him in jail?
final sentencing is set to take place August 11th.
Oh my God, he was a former cop. Under 12, that's freaking a nightmare. I can't believe it. Alright, so from there, we're gonna go to a not so serious situation. We all know I love animals, and we all know that I love bear videos. And I found this one. It's called Watch, Trio of Bears Playing in Canaan. And it's going to be courtesy of WMUR-TV. And if I remember correctly, the music behind this video was kind of cheesy. So I'm probably I'm just going to lower the volume while I narrate this really cute video of these bears. This is probably the mom, and these are the little babies. Look, he's on the fence. Or she, I don't know. But look at how they play, they're so cute. Wait, which one's the mom? Probably this one? I'm not too sure. This one's definitely the baby, it's super tiny. And it doesn't say where this happened. Patricia says, just a few days ago a man jumped off the parking garage and landed on a woman, killed her and himself. I reported on that. I want to say that was California? I can't remember too good, but yes, I reported that story. That was really sad. The family was really devastated, and there's no justice that's gonna happen in that case because the suspect and the victim both unfortunately passed away. Oh, Patricia, I don't know if you knew this, but apparently they're opening up the street that the Hard Rock collapse happened on. I want to say I saw that today. Hi, Black and Bougie, how are you? Says, how long y'all been on today? 20 minutes. I was on earlier for like 2.5 hours, but afterwards I was able to catch up on some things, and I started going through my news feed, and I was like, hey, I've got like over 20 clips here. I can go ahead and go live again so we can all hang out. Alright, so this next clip is having to do with the Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow Daybell situation. If you're not familiar of it, long story short, because it's a long story, it has everything having to do with like end times cults and like revelations type of beliefs. The man in the situation was a grave digger. Family members around this couple have passed away. It's just so crazy what's happened, but basically the highlights of their story at this point is 2 of Lori Vallow's children went missing. The grandparents wanted like a wellness check done on them. They were wanting to find out where the kids were at because they hadn't seen them in a while. The courts eventually have had they gave them a time limit on when they can produce the children to show that they're okay. That day came and went. Lori married that guy, Chad. That was weird because none of the family members even knew that they were up to that. Something about a ring on Amazon that was $25. That might have been a clue as to how the kids had passed away, but it's turning out that they were murdered separately. Well, they were arrested in Hawaii while they were on their honeymoon, and ever since then it had been a mystery as to what happened to the kids. Eventually they started checking the husband's property, and they found both of them, and I think one of them was bound and buried and the other one was burnt, bound and buried. So a really egregious crime, and it looks like the mother doesn't care too much. She believed that the world was going to end, I think like last year in June or something like that. That day also came and went. Nothing happened. She's not changing their story. Let's see, when does their trial start? I mean it's moving towards it. because the clip that I have has something to do with testing, more testing, I guess, for court. So let me see. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything because this case was really wild. Oh, Lori's brother apparently looks like he might be the hitman of the family. Some of the spouses that passed away he might have had something to do with it. One of them for sure. It's just a real crazy. Yeah, they had moved to Hawaii. Oh, they moved there. They weren't on their honeymoon. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty crazy that your kids are missing and you're out here getting married, having fun, and she seems to care more about him than the kids. And I would have thought that by now, since the rapture didn't happen, or she thought that they were part of the 144,000, if you know what that means in Bible terms. But we have a clip. It's an update, I guess, from what's going on with their proceedings. It's called DNA Testing Conducted on Possible Blood, Chad Daybell's Tools, Court Documents Reveal, and that's going to be courtesy of East Idaho News. And what this video is, it's like a video conference, so there's no commentary from the news. So let's just see what they talked about today. Oops. Why is this down? Sorry, my bad. Let me fix the volume and then hit play.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We'll go on the record now. Let's make sure we have our court reporter. Mr. Fuller, are you there? Very well, thank you. This is Fremont County KCR 222755, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. Mr. Daybell is represented by his attorney, John Pryor. And if you give me just a second, I'm going to mute because I got a siren going by here. All right. This is the time we have scheduled for a hearing on the defendant's motions, motion to oppose use of and motion to preserve DNA samples, motion for photographic recording of serology samples and other visual tests, and motion to review lab records. Before we started this hearing, I discussed the matter off the record with counsel, Mr. Pryor and Mr. Wood. The state did file a response to the motion indicating that it didn't entirely object to some of the issues in the motion. Council has agreed to try to see if this issue can be resolved through stipulation, and there are some additional issues that we're going to need to find out from the state lab in order to potentially reach a stipulation. And so in order to allow time for that, it's my understanding the parties have agreed that we should continue today's hearing with the proviso that the state would agree to refrain at this time from any consumptive testing of any evidence in its custody at this time. In other words, any testing that would completely consume the evidence, leaving it unavailable for examination by the defense. And then we could bring the case up again or potentially not have to hear the motion on the basis of a stipulation. So that's what I understand we intend to do today. Mr. Pryor, does that
This sounds like a story that some of us know quite a little bit about. If you're interested, I could try to put together something. I could just have a live dedicated to updating everybody, maybe getting everybody on the same page about the story, because it's a lot of stuff, right, that happened. So just let me know. Maybe one of these, maybe like by the weekend, I could have something together.
recitation I just gave comport with your understanding of where we are today?
It does, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wood and Ms. Smith. On behalf of the state, are we okay to continue this matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Very well. And again, Mr. Wood, as I mentioned, obviously part of that agreement is that the state would refrain from any consumptive testing until this issue is sorted out. Counsel, if you need to have a hearing on this, just contact the court and we can do that potentially even on an expedited basis if necessary. I think that's all we've got for today. Then is there any other issue we need to bring up, Mr. Wood or Ms. Smith from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pryor, Mr. Means, anything further today?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Thank you. May I be excused?
You may. Thanks, counsel. We'll go ahead and log. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Alright, so that wasn't too eventful, but I do want to go ahead and update on that case every chance I get because I want to stay up to date because it is a lot of information. Now, this next clip is a surveillance film, a surveillance video of a shooting that happened inside a store. It's called Police Union Releases Security Footage of Shooting, Child Caught in the Crossfire, and that's going to be courtesy of News 8 WROC.
The RCSD today is reporting that just in a short time frame, 13 students have been injured as a result of gun violence and 6 have died. Those deaths occurring between September and April, so basically the school year. And just yesterday in the city, a shooting with a child caught in the crossfire. Jack Watson with us in studio now with how leaders are reacting to this and the uptick in violence across the city.
Adam, leaders with City Council, the Police Accountability Board, and the superintendent of the school district are now talking about the violence in Rochester. We're about to show this video, which comes from a convenience store on Warner Street yesterday, and we want to warn you, this video may be disturbing to some of our viewers. A man is seen firing a weapon here, a child just a few feet away, picked up and rushed away from the scene. This was taken inside a store, posted to social media by the Rochester Police Locust Club, the union representing rank-and-file officers in the city. And according to police, at around 3:30 yesterday afternoon, a 41-year-old man was shot and taken to the hospital with a non-life-threatening injury. We spoke with Rochester City Councilman Jose Payo and Police Accountability Board Director Connor Dwyer Reynolds, and here's what they each had to say.
We have a crisis in this community, a public safety crisis. And we got to move past the platitudes, we've got to move past the rhetoric and talk about what actually works. And that's what the PAB's job is, figuring out how the public safety system actually serves its people.
Once we start seeing more of these videos, we're going to know exactly what our citizens are dealing with on a daily basis. And they're going to see that our police are absolutely needed.
Yeah, but where were they? They weren't there. They couldn't have done anything to stop it.
And Adam, I mentioned the superintendent this afternoon, Dr. Leslie Myers Small called.
Then again, I don't want them on every corner either, or in every store, everywhere we go.
On organizations in the community to redouble their outreach efforts to young people in light of the violence. I spoke with the superintendent this afternoon, who called the violence harrowing.
All right, Jack, thank you. On the note of gun violence in particular, so far this year, there have been about 80 shooting incidents reported by RPD, more than a dozen of them fatal.
That's that one. Sounded a lot like hell on earth every day. Let's go ahead and delete that one before I get confused and show it again. Alright, so this next clip is called NYPD Man Chase FedEx Driver with Bow and Arrow. You have to see this. This is crazy. This is courtesy of CBS New York.
Police arrested a man accused of chasing a FedEx driver with a bow and arrow. Investigators in Jamaica, Queens posted a picture of the...
So some guy in Jamaica, Queens was running around with this bow and arrow trying to attack a FedEx driver.
The weapon, sources say 22-year-old Alexander Carrion asked the driver yesterday why he was talking to his girlfriend. The FedEx driver ignored him. Moments later, the driver says he saw Carrion allegedly running toward him with the bow and arrow. The driver took off and called 911. Carrion was arrested near his home.
That's crazy. That's very
32-year-old Jessica.
Uncivilized way to behave out here. They're cracking up. Patricia. Okay, so I saw this next clip on Inside Edition, and it was probably like a little bit over a minute long, and then I found this other one, so I went with this one. It's pretty crazy. It's called Intoxicated Driver Who Killed Officer in Queens, Hit and Run, Knew She Hit Something, quote, court documents say. And that's going to be courtesy of Pix 11 News. This is a crazy story if you didn't get to see it today. It went pretty viral.
Beauvais initially fled the scene when she struck veteran NYPD officer Anastasio Sakos, but was caught a short distance away.
She's apparently a podcaster or a YouTuber maybe or something like that. I'm not too sure like what her following is, but she was drinking on a live before she went on this rampage. Watch. It's crazy.
She has admitted to drinking and smoking marijuana before getting behind the wheel.
I'm sorry.
She also told police she wasn't sure of what she hit Tuesday morning, even though Sakos was in full reflective gear next to a marked police car with flashing lights and traffic cones. According to court documents charging her with 13 criminal counts, she told investigators, "I smoke weed regularly, and that on Monday I drank 2 glasses of wine earlier before dropping."
I guess, since she said it, they have to quote her or whatever. I just don't see what weed has to do with it. Weed doesn't make people violent or go on a rampage. It's just a really negative representation of, what THC can do.
Dropping off my son in Hempstead. I smoked a joint last night before my podcast that I did in Brooklyn, the podcast from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. She says she brought the bottle of wine with her to the podcast and had 2 shots of 1800 Patron tequila. According to the complaint, Bouvet further told detectives she didn't know where she was going and used a GPS, that she made a left and right turn, ending up at a gas station where she was stopped by cops, that she thought she might have been speeding, and that she did hear a thump and knew she'd hit something but didn't see what it was. It was 14-year veteran officer, husband, and father of 2, Anastasios Sakos. Commissioner Dermot Shea on this morning's Pix 11 Morning News.
Well, just a family man, somebody that was completely devoted to his wife and children, and the kind of person that you would always like to work alongside. Somebody that didn't shy away from work, didn't ask anything other than what he can do to help, and was just really there for everyone around him. And it's just.
What is she lying about? What part? I think, did I miss something? Sorry, I was lowering the volume on my TV.
A terrible, terrible loss.
Hours before the accident, Bouvet even went on a Facebook Live rant against police.
We're not scared of the police. Otherwise, there'd be songs like the police.
There is no evidence pointing to an intentional act on her part in the crash. Commissioner Shea responding that the law will decide her case.
The case is going to work its way through the court system. I view this, I'll be brutally honest here, it doesn't matter what happens to her, because nothing is ever going to replace this terrible loss.
Now, Bouvet posted a .15 blood alcohol level more than 2 hours after the accident. Among the charges she faces,
that much alcohol, I would have been passed out. And she was tiny. If you saw her when they were doing her perp walk, she was really skinny. So I just imagine, I mean that has nothing to do with her tolerance. Who knows? Maybe she drinks and she has a high tolerance. But wow, I would have been knocked out on that.
2 counts of vehicular manslaughter and DWI. She also faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted. By the way, Bouvet was also driving with a suspended license. Tamsin, Corey.
Wow, that's shameful. That's awful. I'll keep up to date on that story because that was definitely heartbreaking, because I know we're not the biggest fans of cops nowadays, but he didn't deserve that. That was terrible. Let's continue going through my playlist. We have about 13 clips to go. It's probably going to be a short live compared to the other ones, but let's keep on trucking. The next one is called Video Emerges Showing Rough Arrest at Miami Publix, and this is going to be courtesy of WPLG Local 10.
We're now working breaking news. Video surfacing of a rough arrest by Miami police.
Louis in the newsroom with more on this.
Yeah, the video shows a tough takedown at a Publix supermarket in Miami. You can see the police officers stop a man near the checkout lines at the store on Biscayne Boulevard and 17th Street this month. During the takedown, you see the officer hit the homeless man several times. This happened while shocked shoppers looked on. The man was accused of stealing some chicken. Miami police releasing this statement, quote, "The Miami Police Department is aware of the incident and has launched an investigation. The officer involved has been relieved of duty pending the outcome of the investigation." We'll have much more on this.
That's crazy. He was a homeless man and he stole chicken and he was being apprehended by the police, and the police attacked him, punched him. That's terrible. See, that's a bad example. Let's continue on. This story we talked about, well, I don't know if we talked about it, but I definitely showed it whenever I first found out about it. It's about a woman that killed her child, essentially. It's called Prosecutors Say 30-year-old who died had toxic level of methadone in her system, cuts and abrasions. It continues on, but it's cut off. This is going to be courtesy of Fox 46 Charlotte.
Prosecutors say a mom charged in her little girl's death left painkillers sitting around the house, and the 3-year-old had toxic levels of the drugs in her system when she died. Fox 46's Robin Kennedy is live on Dellinger Circle in Cherryville tonight. And Robin, you've uncovered this is not the first time the mom has been arrested.
That's right, Lindsay. That mom arrested here at her home and charged in her young daughter's death. But police tell me that she has been charged in the past with stabbing her boyfriend. And prosecutors say she's also been charged before with DWI and hit and run. Now, a neighbor sent us video of the arrest of Jenna Melton being led away in handcuffs.
Black and Bougie, I have StreamYards. I've never had a guest. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Copy to clipboard, copy. Just, if you decide to hit the link, just have patience with me, because I've never had a panel before, so I don't know if it's something I need to figure out or if it's easy. But yeah, the link's right there in the chat, so we'll see what happens. Alright, let's continue watching this video.
Last night, she's charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of her 3-year-old daughter, Anna Lee Tadich. Police were called out to Melton's house on January 5th. Prosecutors say little Anna was unresponsive and had cuts on her face. A prosecutor said today in court that the toxicology report showed toxic levels of methadone in the little girl's body and that Melton left the narcotic sitting freely around her house. The police chief told me it took so long to make an arrest because they were waiting on toxicology and autopsy reports from the medical examiner's office. We spoke with a neighbor today upset by the news of the little girl's death.
Well, it's not a good feeling, especially when it comes to a child. And a child you can't take up for itself. You know, you depend on the mother and the daddy to take care of it. If she did it, I hope she gets punished for it, because she's going to have to live with it for the rest of her life.
Now, a judge gave Melton a $500,000 bond today. The defense wanted less. They wanted a $25,000 bond so that Melton can get out of jail and go to a substance abuse treatment program. I'm live in Cherryville. Robin Kennedy, Fox 46.
Well, she's right, though. She is going to have to live with that either way, whether she finds a way to say that she's crazy and ends up, you know, going into a mental facility. I'm not too sure how the process works over there in Charlotte. But let's see. Patricia says, oh, look this one up. I think it was in Fresno. Killed 3 kids saying she was protecting them from their father. Yes, I remember I covered that. I don't remember her name though. But I'll try to see if there's any updates on it. If you can remember anybody's name, I would appreciate it, Patricia, because I know I covered that. But it was, I want to say, just like one clip. I think she did a jailhouse interview and they did a short segment on it. Let's continue on. This one is called, let me get this down here. Okay, this one is called Estranged Husband Charged with Murder of Missing Genoa Woman Amber Eichner. And this is going to be courtesy of WTOL 11.
Well, tonight a husband is behind bars in Ottawa.
Is it just me, or are there no ads at night? Because during the day when I do this, every clip I pick has an ad. And so far, I haven't had an issue. I don't know, is that just me or what?
County for the death of his wife, Amber Eichner. Today, John Eichner facing a judge for the first time.
We have live team coverage tonight. Emma Henderson in Genoa, where the Eichners live. She's hearing directly from the community who knew the couple. But first, let's get to John Monk, who was in the courtroom as John Eichner was arraigned today. John.
Yeah, Melissa, 43-year-old John Eichner of Genoa is in jail tonight. A few hours ago, he was here at the Ottawa County Municipal Court where he was arraigned and formally charged with the murder of his wife, Amber. John was also charged with 1 count of tampering with evidence and 4 counts of child endangerment. Eichner was arrested last night after human remains were found at a South Toledo property. The resident of that property said John had buried the body of a deceased dog there recently, but he contacted police when he saw Amber's missing person report. Genoa police began their missing person investigation Friday, and after locating the 4 children in Tennessee, handed the investigation over to the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department on Monday. Both agencies say the combination of working with other law enforcement groups and the constant work of Amber's friends and family directly led to this murder charge.
Posting flyers, reaching out to the news media, calling for updates, it generated enough leads.
Okay, so it looks like Black and Bougie is ready to talk to us. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. How are you all?
I'm doing pretty good. Sometimes these stories are kind of emotional, but I want to say I'm kind of used to it. I've been watching true crime stories for a really long time now. It's just find a way to, keep it light.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm a true crime buff too, so I kind of frequent this stuff a lot. But really quick, okay, who in here remembers the Steve Harvey show?
Yes, I think he played like the saxophone or trumpet or something like that in the show. He was a music teacher or something. Am I thinking
Was
something
he?
else? I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, I
Let's
know he was
see.
a teacher, but I just don't remember like exactly what he did.
Let me check. I could do a quick Google search. Hi, observing stuff. How you doing? He's in the chat. Let me see. It was a sitcom from '96 till 2002. I'm not too sure if it says, but I think I remember it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, remember the black guy that was in it. His real name was Merlin Santana, but on the Steve Harvey show, his name was Romeo Santana.
Okay, I'm looking him up. Go ahead.
Okay, remember he got murdered?
No, what happened?
Okay, he was I think he was at a club or a party or whatever, and he ended up getting with this lady, and I think she was like grown, compared to him. I think she probably was like, in her late 20s, early 30s, and I think he was, barely out of teenagehood or whatever. Well, he had ended up getting with her, and she got him killed. Yeah. So do y'all remember he got killed?
No, I have no. This is like news to me. What happened?
Yeah, he's dead. He's been dead for years. I think they took the show off after he got killed.
Oh my God.
So this woman that got him killed, why I just seen a story about now she ended up being an HIV positive prostitute and she's dead.
Oh my gosh. And is that
Yeah.
like breaking news right now? Is that something that's
I mean, I'm assuming it is because I just seen a story about it. I don't know how, new it is. If you could look it up, that would be great. But
yeah.
Yeah, you see how it says like how did Romeo Santana die and all that
Mhm.
stuff. Like, yeah, if you could just like click on that and then probably find out, the lady that got him murdered, she's, she got her comeuppance. So
Let me see.
I
I'm
have
trying.
zero sympathy.
Right, that sounds like that worked itself out. Let me
Yeah.
see though. Let me go back real quick. It says that he was on the Cosby Show. He roles as Rudy Huxtable's boyfriend Stanley on the Cosby Show. He was Marcus Dixon on Getting By. He was Marcus Henry in Under One Roof and Romeo Santana on the Steve Harvey Show. let's see, on his death. I'll just read what Wikipedia says real quick, and then if we need more information, we could just look for it. But it says, on November 9, 2002, Santana was murdered while sitting in a car in Los Angeles. Santana and his friend, actor Brandon Adams, just left, and here's his picture, just left an acquaintance's home in the Crenshaw district when the suspect, Damian Andre Gates, fired the shot that entered through the trunk of the vehicle in which Santana was a passenger. The bullet penetrated the right front passenger headrest and entered Santana's head, killing him. Santana, age 26, was buried on November 18, 2002 in the Bronx borough of New York City. Oh my god, that sounds terrible. So he was gunned down while sitting in a car in New York.
Yeah, and it's her fault. She orchestrated this, and I don't know, it's sad when anybody dies, of course, but he was like one of those talents. He was gonna go far. You know, he wasn't just gonna, like, I could see him playing, you know, doing Will Smith kind of shit. And she just had him snuffed out. Like,
You don't happen to know her name, do you?
well, if you look at the bottom, you see where it says teenage girl convicted for a role in actor's killing.
Yes, I think. Oh, I need to
So,
reshare. Just give me 1 second. Because I guess what happens when I hit a link, it opens up a new tab. So then I have to go back out and back in. So just give me 1 second. Is this the one you were talking about? This one? Teenage girl convicted for a role in actor's killing?
yeah, see, I don't know who told me she was an adult, because I thought like maybe she was just like some grown woman, you know, that was messing with a younger guy and kind of got him, you know, in trouble. But it seems that she, you know, she wasn't that much older than him. I mean, hell, she was a teen then, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I could read what this says because I have no idea. This is from Los Angeles Times, so let's see what they said about it. If you don't mind, I could read this.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so it says a teenage girl was found guilty Tuesday, and this was written in March 17, 2004. It says a teenage girl was found guilty Tuesday of helping two men kill popular young actor Merlin Santana, making a clean sweep for prosecutors who earlier won convictions against her two co-defendants. Monique King lied to her two accomplices by saying the actor had made sexual advances toward her. She also helped them get away after they shot Santana, said Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Larry P. Fiddler. Prosecutors had sought a first-degree murder charge against King, 17, in connection with the November 9, 2002 shooting, which took place shortly after the actor left another man's home in the Crenshaw district of Los Angeles. Santana, 26, of North Hollywood, was best known for his role as Romeo Santana on The Steve Harvey Show. Fiddler, trying the case without a jury, found King guilty of second-degree murder and attempted murder. He acquitted King on two lesser charges. King, a runaway who was 15 at the time of her arrest, is scheduled to be sentenced April 20th. Prosecutors who tried her as an adult agreed that King would be sentenced to the California Youth Authority and held until age 25. This case was tragic all around, said Deputy District Attorney Greg Dohe. Merlin Santana was a very gifted actor and his murder was utterly senseless. Monique King had a miserable childhood and this verdict punishes her fairly and gives her a chance to turn her life around. Brandon Douglas Bynes, 25, pleaded guilty January 26 to voluntary manslaughter and assault with a deadly weapon in the case. He was sentenced last week to 23 years in prison. Damian Andre Gates, 21, was convicted of first-degree murder in the slaying and sentenced in February to 70 years to life in prison. The three were arrested soon after killing of Santana. Prosecutors said that Santana and a friend had been at a nearby home with King the night of the murder. King left and then later returned outside the residence with Bynes and Gates. King told the men that Santana and his friend had made sexual advances toward her. Police said Santana and his friend were about to leave when one of the men shot him in the head as he sat in the passenger seat of a car. The friend drove off and flagged down a police car. Santana died at the scene. Wow. That's tragic. And considering
Yeah,
that
it
she's
is.
young, they didn't really make her pay too much, did they? But I guess they're probably thinking because she's young, she didn't know any better or something like that. I'm not too sure how California works
I mean,
with the legal
some
system.
states they sympathize with with teenage killers. Some states
Mhm.
they don't. So, it just kind of varies because hell, they didn't care about Centoya Brown, having a fucked up life.
Facts. Yes, I'm familiar with that case too.
Yeah, and she was trafficked as a child. I mean, if it
Mhm.
wasn't for, outside people, I mean, I guess Kim Kardashian is taking the credit for this too, but if it weren't for outside people, Centoya wouldn't even be out. So,
I don't think there's anything wrong with advocating, but sometimes I don't know where Kim Kardashian gets her facts too. But I guess she's educating herself on that, so at least she's, putting the college effort into it.
yeah, but there was a group of black women lawyers who did that. They did the footwork, to get
Right.
these people out.
Right. And all Kim did was put her face to the situation.
Absolutely. The same way she always does. She's an
Right.
attention whore.
Mhm. That's
But
true.
yeah, I just wanted to tell you all that. I wonder where's the update on her, um, you know, on her being a prostitute, that's dead and that was HIV positive.
Oh, I have no
What did they say her
idea.
name was? Monique
Her
who?
name Monique King, King.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. They're probably gonna. I mean, this is Los Angeles Times, so they're probably gonna try to keep it classy as possible. So they're probably gonna just omit some of the less desirable details, which sucks because sometimes it makes you question if the information that you're getting is even all the way rounded out true. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well,
I'd
thank you
love
for
to
letting me
know.
know. Yeah, me too. I'm always researching stuff, and that's why I was saying earlier, if there's anybody in the chat that's not aware of like the Lori Vallow situation. I know that case is really twisty and turny. There's all kinds of stuff that's always popping out with them.
Are you familiar with Baby Nilo?
I don't know. Maybe sometimes I forget names. I
Um,
could look them up. Baby
I can't
Nilo.
think of. Yeah, just do like Baby Nilo in Cincinnati.
Still not found as of January.
Yes. And
What's her
it's
name?
crazy because that's where I am, and this is a case of um because the police here are looking for him because his mother's killer threw him in the Ohio River.
Oh
They're
my
looking for
God.
him and this other little boy in Middletown, which is like 20-30 miles from Cincinnati. His mother also threw him in the Great Miami River.
Oh my God.
So
Why are
I'm not
people
really
doing
sure if
this?
they're still looking for him. But it's crazy because this channel called, yeah, there he is, and him and his mom. Yeah.
Mhm.
So this girl named 54 Keys, she has a YouTube channel, and my heart
Yes.
sank because when she showed where Nilo and his mother were living in Walnut Hills, my mother lived around a corner from there.
Oh my gosh.
And
So you feel
I
like a
couldn't believe it.
connection. Yeah, you feel like a connection to the case, right?
Yeah, like, it's just sickening when I think about the times that I went to go visit my mother and a woman and her child were being abused, right around the corner from my mother's house.
Oh my gosh.
It's just, I can't believe it. And he's a demonic fucker because what he did, he killed her and threw baby Nilo in the river because they found his stroller down there.
Uh-huh.
And they showed him on Facebook getting high in that baby's room, talking shit. And they said her body was still in there.
Oh my gosh.
While he was doing that. It's just, it's sick.
It is sick. And honestly, every day there's either sexual assaults on children, they're being killed in drive-bys, like the little girl from, I want to say it was Florida, that was sitting in the car at McDonald's with her dad, and she gets gunned down, and even the suspects in that case were already up to working on another crime when they got caught. It's just never ending. It's really sad.
Yeah, that was in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh,
Excuse
Chicago.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, and they caught them too.
Mhm. Let me see.
Yep, they've been arrested. So
It looks like been missing for nearly a month. This was as of I want to say January. I thought I saw that. No,
I could have sworn
March.
this happened in December, but I don't know.
There was an update March 9th. Let me see if I can find the update. Where are they at here? March 9th was what, a month ago? A little over a month ago. Second. There's no information. I'm not too sure what's going on here. Yeah, they're still looking. They've covered several areas, it says.
Yeah, they're not gonna find. At this point, like, just they're not gonna find that baby. There's an urban legend going on around here that they said there are catfish in the Ohio River that are the size of small cars. Like they're saying, like, the Ohio River is a very filthy, polluted river. There's no telling what, that baby's gone, for one. I mean, he was dead the moment that, he fell in the river. A 2-year-old can't, even if he can swim, he's not gonna make it. So
that's true. Let's see. I'm trying to get a date. This one says February 24th. It says, I still have nightmares. Man indicted in the gruesome death of 3-year-old Nilo Lattimore. It says, investigators believe 3-year-old Nilo Lattimore was dumped into the Ohio River alive by the man who had stabbed his mother to death. Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe DeTers is seeking the death penalty for Deshaun Brown, 21, who is charged with murder in both killings. He chose to kill Nilo in an incredibly barbaric method. DeTers said at a press conference Wednesday, I still have nightmares about this. Nilo's body is still missing despite Cincinnati police and volunteer groups searching more than 180 miles of the river. DeTers wouldn't go into detail, but said murder convictions have happened without a body before, and the evidence in this case is strong.
absolutely.
DeTers said Brown had planned for months to kill his girlfriend before he stabbed her to death in a Walnut Hills apartment around December 5th. He said Brown waited several days, leaving her body in the apartment, and then carried her out in a body bag he ordered off eBay. DeTers said Brown
Oh my God.
I know, this is awful. I can't believe this. DeTers said Brown called an Uber to drive him to the river, telling the driver the large bag was just some clothes. Investigators believe Brown tried to throw Lattimore's body into the river the night of December 11th, so it was in December. She was discovered around 3:30 a.m. near the Purple People Bridge on December 12th. Wow.
And I don't know what it is about that bridge, but here, because what me and my children used to do, we would like ride our bikes across that bridge, because you can get to Newport, Kentucky from the Cincinnati side, and it's just like a fun place for families. But like when my children were little, somebody raped and murdered a lady on the Purple People Bridge. Like, I don't know what it is about that bridge, but it's name. Like it's some really heinous shit that goes on that fucking bridge.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
What was it? Purple People Eater?
It's Purple People. It's Purple People Bridge. I don't know why the fuck they.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because people are definitely getting eaten on that fucking bridge.
Oh my God, that just took me back to being a kid. The Purple People Eaters. My mistake.
Like what?
I'm
it's
taking
okay.
This seriously. I'm taking this seriously. But there's a little bit more here, actually. I actually kept scrolling down. Let's continue seeing what else is being said here. It says, an image from a surveillance camera shows what DeTers said was Brown carrying the body in a body bag wrapped in a blanket. DeTers said the evidence shows Nilo was thrown in the river after his mother was killed. So perhaps Nilo witnessed that happening. but before her body was dumped. I cannot even imagine what the little boy was going through, Deter said. He said the method Brown used to allegedly kill Nyla was gruesome. He died a miserable death. Cincinnati police homicide detective said Nyla's blood was found on a Paw Patrol blanket recovered with his mother's body, and his stroller was found nearby.
Yeah, that's demonic. And do you know that when they were first, because like people were saying like, oh, let's find the baby, like where is he? Because he was in jail downtown, and the inmates down there were beating his ass. And I'm like, well, hopefully, they torture him and he ends up telling, where that baby is.
Right.
So a girl got on the news and was like, yeah, that's my little cousin's stroller. She was like, yeah, that's my little cousin. Like I know that, he did this. Like, just imagine.
I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
and she was on Facebook, like you can tell like she was turning over a new leaf in her life, like just trying to get things together. She was saying things like, I'm so happy for, A, B, and C, I'm getting my education so I can make a better life for my son. And, I just want to be somebody that he can look up to and shit like that. And he's all on Facebook like, yeah, I don't trust no motherfucking body. Yeah, people turn their back on me. Like, just wallowing in self-pity because he's a piece of shit.
Right. Yeah, you make it
Didn't
hard for
tell
people
her
to help
happy
you.
birthday or anything, but you're living in her house with her child.
My God. This says Brown was arrested in connection with Lattimore's death on December 12th, the day her body was discovered. The same day Nyla was reported missing to Cincinnati police, Tonio Hughes filed a report which states he is Nyla's father. Hughes told police Nyla had last been seen December 4th. Brown is charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder, 1 count of gross abuse of a corpse, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. He is being held at the Hamilton County Justice Center on a $1 million bond. Police are still searching for Nyla's body. In all my years as prosecutor, I have never seen such a cold-blooded act committed against an innocent woman and her 3-year-old baby, Deter said. And then here's a timeline of the disappearance and the killing. So if anybody wants to read that, I hope y'all can read that on your screens. I maximized the screen there for y'all. But wow, that's really sad.
Yeah, and she's just like that girl in Middletown. She's like 25, 30 miles from here. She took her son to like a secluded park, and she was trying to just like leave him there. And he's a baby, so he's like, come on, mom, like don't leave or whatever. And he's holding on to the car, and they said she drug him with the car, him.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know her name though. I was actually gonna ask you if you knew about that.
I cannot think of her name, but I think his name was James. I don't know why. It just seems like his name was James or something.
James
but
Hutchinson.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I think
yeah,
so.
Middletown, Ohio mom drowned son in the damn river, something like that.
Let me see, what are we doing here? I am sharing a screen. Hang on 1 second. Yes, James Hutchinson. I covered his story when it first, I think, came out. This woman.
Oh, okay.
You see her here. She tried, I guess, saying like that she's like incompetent to stand trial, but she already went through the test or whatever, and they found her competent. So she's gonna go to court. She's trying to avoid it, but she has been ruled competent to stand trial. And I want to say that she had all her children hogtied in the back of the car too, and that she was gonna drop off James at the park and leave him there. I don't know what kind of rage she was on that night. Yeah, it says Gosney is accused of hogtying her 3 children and attempting to abandon them in February 26 in a Preble County park where they had taken family trips in the past. Can you imagine? He had related that place to like happy times, and she was taking him there.
And now you're coming here to kill me.
Right.
Like what? And then what happened to the rest of the children?
Hopefully, I think they're okay, because as far as I know, I mean, as far as, you know, she didn't get to hurt them, they're not okay. But I want to say that James was the only child death in that story. It says police said that James grabbed the door handle of the van as Gosney tried to speed away. He fell, suffered a head trauma, and died.
Yeah, and I think they said there were text messages. Now this could be another story, but I remember them saying that he kept telling her, like, you know, when are you going to get rid of him? Like, you know, I'm tired of you making up excuses, like
to be a mom.
you know, he's got to go. Yeah, he was like, you know, he's got to go. And she was like, oh, I'm trying, just give me another few days. Like, what?
Dump him. I mean, it's not the baby's fault. She's the one who brought him into this crazy world, and then turned out to be his biggest enemy in the end. But yeah, it says
she
here,
is wicked.
Yeah, it says Gosney and her boyfriend, Gosney being the mom, his name is James Hamilton, confessed that they later dumped James' body in the Ohio River near Lawrenceburg, Indiana. According to court documents, the child's body has still not been recovered. Gosney and Hamilton face a combined 31 felonies, including gross abuse of a corpse, endangering children, and tampering with evidence. Gosney is also charged with murder. The couple is being held at the Butler County Jail awaiting trial. Their next hearings are scheduled for May 24th. So that was recently.
Okay, so that's coming up. I'm gonna watch it. And I wonder how old the children are, because you know, depending on their age, they can testify against her.
That's true.
And I hope they throw the whole library at this bitch.
Me too. That was a really tough case to look at. Are you familiar with Gannon Stout and Letitia?
Yeah, isn't that the one where his step monster was talking to the news, and she's like, oh, he's so helpful, and I can't wait to people see that I didn't do this.
Right, and she took off. I want to say she tried to evade her arrest.
Yeah. She's a fucking psychopath. Look at her face. Look at her eyes.
Did you know she's trying to represent herself?
Oh, I can't wait.
Well,
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a shit show.
She got suspended from the library because I guess when you schedule like some time at the library while you're locked up, if you don't use it, you lose it. So 2 times she didn't use her library time, so they suspended her from it. I'm guessing that's a sign that maybe she's giving up on trying to represent herself, and maybe she's gonna start leaning towards finding representation for herself. Because
I don't want her to find it. I don't give up now, Letitia.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it, bitch. Come on, we're rooting for you, you dumb whore.
We're rooting for you to lose.
Yeah, I hope they fry this bitch too.
Yeah, that was heinous.
Are you all familiar with Imani Smith and Tiffany Smith?
Maybe. How do you spell the first name that you said?
Imani is E-M-A-N-I.
E or I?
I think it's E.
Because I have an Imani Moss. Is that someone different?
Yes, Imani Moss and Tiffany Moss. Yeah, like, okay, so this demonic bitch, she tried to represent herself, but she didn't even defend herself. And she was supposed to get executed last year, and they didn't do it.
Why?
And I want to know what the hell they're waiting on.
Oh, okay. She's probably appealing the shit out of it, or trying to.
Yeah, and what they're going to do, and people are saying, because she's a narcissist, she's doing this on purpose. What she did is she let them, she let all these people testify against her without defending herself, so that they can appeal it and say, oh, well, she didn't know how to defend herself, so she gets an appeal.
Or a mistrial.
Yeah.
Anything. They almost tried doing a mistrial for George Floyd's case because of the stuff that Maxine Waters was saying. That's all it took.
Right.
It didn't even take somebody that was there to do something or say something.
Right, as if what Maxine says takes away from what Chauvin did to George. It doesn't make
Exactly.
any sense.
And then on top of that, right before all that happened, or right during all of that happening, the defense lawyer wanted to what how do you say it? Like seclude? I don't know what the word is. But like basically keep the jurors like away from all of media and everything. And the
Oh yeah,
judge said,
seclude them away from watching media. I mean, I find
yes.
it very hard to believe that even regular people that, people, because, people don't really watch mainstream TV anymore. People, they just get on the internet to find their news. Like, there's no way in hell that people are not doing that. Like, people in South Africa and in Europe know about George Floyd. Nobody is not watching this. Nobody.
Yes. Even when it first came out, I had my suspicions because usually when I look at a case that has like the elements of public outrage and like national news, I tend to look at it with some scrutiny because I do follow like true crime and will also conspiracy theories. So one of the theories that was out there was that it was a staged event, that George Floyd was like an actor, that I for a while I thought he was a mannequin too in the very beginning. I don't know if you saw any of the conspiracy theories that were coming out about it, but after watching the trial and not getting to know the people, but just seeing how people that were there behaved and reacted to it, I feel like it's a real story.
Yes, and don't get me wrong, I do think that there are government psyops. I mean, hell, a part of me thinks that, Sandy Hook might not even be real, but everything is not a government psyop.
And
And I mean, it's regular people. I mean, I guess it's hard for us to tell, but I mean, if you look at the way that Chauvin was on George's neck, you've seen his neck get elongated by Chauvin's knee. Like, did you see how long his knee was stretching George's neck? Like, that's real.
Yes, definitely. And the way the people reacted for a while too, I thought like that crowd was put there. Like, look at how calm they are.
No, everything is not a government psyop. Those people were highly emotional. Like, they were like, get the fuck off of him. Like, what are you doing? Like, those were not actors.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the clues about a situation being like a false flag is that they usually do like a training event close by too. So while the quote unquote real event is happening, the one where the media is focused on, there's like a training event just like it close by. And another thing is there'll be a lot of like clues too, like Freemasonry kind of things. You know how Derek Chauvin had his hand in his pocket? One of the theories was that was a Freemason hand gesture, was having his hand in his pocket.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I had my hands in my pocket earlier. I mean, what the fuck?
You did it. It was you.
Yeah, like, come on.
But you know what, I was also gonna say that sometimes maybe the situation is real, but because of how the media has their own agenda too, they blow situations not out of proportion, but they blow them up to serve what they are trying to get going, what they're trying to accomplish. But with this case,
I believe that to an extent, especially how they're always showing Black Death on media. Notice how when we're killed by the police, it's like they like, yeah, look, here's the footage of a Black person getting gunned down. Like, it's like, oh my God, they're trying to get us used to seeing, our people getting gunned down in the streets. Like,
right.
They just show it like it's some kind of, like some TV show or something. So
there's theories. There's all kinds of theories, and you never know. I mean, just sometimes, like I said earlier, when you see an officer-involved situation, it does seem like a hunt to kill situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they just spot whoever they want to get rid of, and then they go after them, and of course people are gonna run away from them because it's like, what do you even want with me? Like, how do I say it? I've never obviously been like harassed by the police, but I remember once I was walking home from work and this cop was parked at the parking lot that I was walking by, and he was like, "Hey, come over here." And I was just like, "No, like, what do you want? Like, why are you even talking to me? Like, I'm going to work. I mean, I'm coming home from work." And he was like, "Yeah, I need to talk to you." So I was just like, fucking A, like, really? So I walked over there, and I walked over there, and I was probably like 25 at the time, but I had like a real baby face, so I looked really young. So because of that, I guess he used that like against me, because he said, "Oh, somebody called about a runaway, and they said that there was a girl walking down the street and you have like the description of that runaway." And then they showed me like on the computer where I guess it said something, because you know how they have a laptop like in their vehicles, so it said like something runaway, but it looked like something that he typed. It didn't look like an incoming like message or anything. I mean, I don't know how.
Right, like he just sat there and came up with that himself.
Yes.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my
Right.
God.
Exactly. And I was just like, freaking A. And then another time, I was walking to the park to go for a run, and at the time I had real bright red, like Little Mermaid red hair. So I guess that's what made me look really young, and it was like early morning. Not early morning, it was like late morning. And this cop just like came and he parked like right in front of me. I want to say he even got on the sidewalk a little bit, and he started screaming at me, and he was like, "Why aren't you at school?" And I just looked at him like,
what?
And I just started laughing, because I was like, dude, I'm like 25. Like, I haven't been in school for a few years now. I'm not 25 anymore, but I was at the time, you know what I mean? Like, I still wasn't a kid. But I mean, cops are sometimes just aggressive for no good freaking reason to
Yeah,
like
they're
anybody.
psychopaths.
Yeah, and then here where I live, like, I'm Hispanic. I live in a, how do I say it, a border town in Texas. So around here, it's a lot of the same. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. If cops are cops and people are just people, they're just as aggressive as anywhere else. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, now this really shocked me. I seen the police, and I can't even believe this man is alive. You know how there are channels that, I think there's one called The Resistance, channels that are, very anti-police, and they show, the shit that police are always doing, hurting people and killing people and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they showed these officers go up to this man's house. He was like super elderly. Oh, hey, Crown Empress.
Yeah.
This man
I was
was
gonna say
like,
real quick, Crown, if you wanna jump on the panel, you can. I could go ahead and leave the link here if you wanna like come up, or anybody else that wants to like chat with us. We're chatting right now, and it's good. I like it.
me too. So they knocked on this elderly man's door. I couldn't believe it, and there was barely even an exchange of words. It was like, "Come here, get out here," and he's like, "Oh well, I'm not dressed," like, and they're like, "Come on!" Like next thing you know, they pull that man out and they knocked the shit out of him. I'm talking about he fell, and he had like this his yard was like landscaped with bricks and stuff, and he fell all on the bricks and everything. I'm like, because I barely, very rarely see them do this to their own kind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all just assaulted an old ass white man? Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
I don't want any cop talking to me at all. I even remember one time I was at the movies with my friends, and I had to like visit the ladies' room like right in the middle of the movie, and nobody wanted to go with me, so I had to go by myself. And usually like when you're at a movie, all the other movies are playing, so the hall is like empty. And I was trying to get to the ladies' room, and the security guard, which I'm assuming was like an off-duty cop or something, because he was also kind of aggressive, and he was kind of trying to talk to me, like kind of flirt. But I'm telling you, I don't want any cop talking to me.
That's gross.
Yeah, I don't like the obligation of having to speak back to them. You can't turn away.
I know.
Like, you know what I mean? I hate it. I don't know.
It makes you feel like, because it's like, come on, you're just a regular person with a fucking Halloween costume on. A deadly Halloween costume, but it's still a Halloween costume. Like, I don't have to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. So I could just imagine why it is that I know that's why like people just run away from them. Cop comes, you're just standing there not hurting anybody. You know you're not up to any like bad things, and then they come just to harass you. Like, and then I mean, I'm not comparing my situation to like the situations that we see. Obviously, my situation's not gonna be like on the news, like cop harasses girl, tries to get her number, that
Right.
kind of thing. That never makes the news. But I'm just saying they do take it too far almost every chance they get. So it's really tough like with this channel too, because sometimes I want to show videos where, the cop isn't doing the bad thing, they're actually doing a good thing, but then I think about it and I'm like, yeah, but this is just a photo op, like, for them too, so that's why I just leave it alone. And then most times too, with like officer involved shootings where they're bad shootings, I'm like, you know what, I also don't want to get into the habit of only showing like bad shootings, bad cops. I gotta find some kind of way to find a balance, because the reality is not all cops are bad, but then again, not all cops are good.
Yeah, I don't. It's like you said, it's photo ops to me. Like I've seen footage of, oh, look at this neighborhood police officer playing jump rope with these little girls, or oh, look at this police officer, he's playing hopscotch with a little.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, because if if that little girl's father ever pisses him off, he's gonna blow his ass away. So it does not matter. Oh my God, Emmanuel said they released footage a couple of days ago of police officers laughing after breaking an elderly woman's arm.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say something about that. I sent that clip to Crown Empress if she wants to show it, cause like she's really good at critiquing like body cams and surveillance videos and things like that. But yeah, there's a surveillance video or a body cam of the arrest, and then later on they're back at the station or whatever, and they're talking about it, and they're like laughing and saying that it was a good like thing that happened. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, did y'all see? I think I seen it on your channel, or maybe I just watched it independently. But when they had that old lady and she had dementia, and she didn't pay for something in Walmart, and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, and you can tell she was so completely and utterly disoriented. Like, she was confused. She literally was not in her right mind at all. And he was like, "Do you need to go to jail today? Do I need to arrest you?" And she was like, "For what? I didn't do anything." He pushed her on the ground like she was a piece of shit. Keep in mind, she was like in her 70s, so she's elderly. She has dementia. And you're like bullying her over some stupid ass. I seen it on the Young Turks. Yeah, you're beating her up over some shampoo and conditioner that she forgot to pay for at Walmart.
I don't know if you were here, but earlier I showed a clip too, and it was an officer that apprehended a homeless man who stole chicken.
Yeah, I was just watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy had his arms up and everything, and the dude still grabbed him, put him on the floor, and started punching him. That's crazy. That's so sad. That's another issue too that sometimes I want to cover, is like the homeless situation, like Skid Row and tent cities that happen everywhere. But it's just really tough to cover that because I can't offer any real world solutions. So sometimes I just feel kind of like helpless just talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. I think that's the part that angers me the most, is that, what can you do? You have this big organization, I mean, it's small in relation to the amount of people that they're controlling. It's just a small organization of tyrants, that are making everybody else's life a living hell.
I agree. Are you familiar with the Malia Davis case out of Houston?
Yes, the one with the mother named Brittany, because there's two Malias now.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
right.
You're talking about Brittany's daughter?
Yes. What do you think about, what do you think's going on there?
I don't know. They're saying something about that shit. What is his fucking name?
Darion?
Yeah, they said that Darion is getting out. I don't know how true that is. I need that not to be true. They said that Darion is getting out. I got accused of being negative last year because Malia's been dead for 2 years now.
Okay, yeah.
And I was telling people, I'm like, look, come on, if they were going to get Brittany, excuse me, they would have gotten her by now. Brittany is in the nail salon. They showed Brittany getting mani-pedis and shit. And I'm like, they're not going to get her. She's not going to jail. And this lady was like, you need to be positive. You never know what's going to happen. I'm like, come on. Why is she not being arrested? A year later, I see her sitting in an interview with this guy, grinning and smiling like she's not a baby killer.
Or like her child didn't die, either way.
Right. Who's Triggs? I hope that's not a man.
No,
I was gonna say, I know my voice is deep, but damn.
No. Her name is Alicia. She's usually in Crown Empress's chat, and she's called in a few times, and you do sound a lot like her. But
oh my God! I hope she doesn't sound bad. Like like.
No, just familiar.
Oh, okay. Like, oh my God, I know a guy named Triggs. I'm like, oh my God, I sound like a fucking man.
No. I did talk to her, I want to say a couple weeks ago. She's doing good. She's just preoccupied, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of these days she pops in and jumps on the live and you're going to be like, hey, that's my voice twin.
Wow. Well, at least it's a woman.
Yeah, no, she's a woman. Yeah, she's a really cool lady.
Oh,
but,
cool.
I was gonna ask, are you on your headphones or earbuds or anything like that by any chance?
No.
Okay, well we're gonna try something. I was gonna ask you if you wanted to stick around on the panel and we could watch like the rest of these clips, and then maybe like I'll just like pause and then we can like comment on it if you want. But the only thing that I was gonna say is we might have like a sound issue, so whenever the clip is playing, if you could just mute yourself, and then that way
I sure will.
echo. Is that cool? Okay. So
yeah, that's fine.
Do you want me should I start this clip over? It's about like halfway through. I don't even remember what it was.
A strange husband charged with the murder of missing children. Yeah, go ahead, start it from the beginning, because I don't even think.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's go ahead and watch it, and then whenever they hit a pause or whatever, I'll just pause it and then we'll commentate. So I'll go ahead and mute myself, and then I'm gonna go ahead and press play. But this is called Estranged Husband Charged with Murder of Missing Genoa Woman Amber Eichner.
Ben is behind bars in Ottawa County for the death of his wife, Amber Eichner. Today, John Eichner facing a judge for the first time.
We have live team coverage tonight. Emma Henderson in Genoa, where the Eichners live. She's hearing directly from the community who knew the couple. But first, let's get to John Monk, who was in the courtroom as John Eichner was arraigned today. John.
Yeah, Melissa, 43-year-old John Eichner of Genoa is in jail tonight. A few hours ago, he was here at the Ottawa County Municipal Court, where he was arraigned and formally charged with the murder of his wife, Amber. John was also charged with 1 count of tampering with evidence and 4 counts of child endangerment. Eichner was arrested last night after human remains were found at a South Toledo property. The resident of that property said John had buried the body of a deceased dog there recently, but he contacted police when he saw Amber's missing person report. Genoa police began their missing person investigation Friday, and after locating the 4 children in Tennessee, handed the investigation over to the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department on Monday. Both agencies say the combination of working with other law enforcement groups and the constant work of Amber's friends and family directly led to this murder charge.
Posting flyers, reaching out to the news media, calling for updates, it generated enough leads for us to realize that, this is no longer a missing person case.
The interoperability and the cooperation between all of the agencies is exactly what makes a large case like this come together.
And John Eichner was issued a $1,070,000 bond with no option for a 10% payment option. He is due back in court this Friday after he has been assigned his court-appointed lawyer. That arraignment will be at 1:30 on Friday. For now, reporting live from Port Clinton, I'm John Monk, WTOL 11.
I'm not sure what's after that. It looks like there's still like a minute or so. Let me just scroll a little bit to see if they're talking about that or something else. But I mean, yeah, they're still talking about it. But human remains on the property, I mean, that'll do it as far as evidence goes. Observing stuff, might fall asleep.
Didn't they find Lori Daybell's children on somebody's property? Weren't they like yeah.
Mhm. He has a ranch.
Psychos.
He had a big ranch, and I want to say that they released of like a jail call between Lori and Chad, and they were kind of like, yeah, so they're searching the property today. And the other one was just like, oh really, okay, well, okay. Because they know they're being monitored, so they're not even able to say too much. But they know what they did. Let me see. Patricia says Amber G. Oh, okay. It looks like she fell off. I'll go ahead and put the link back in the chat in case you want to come back. Let's do that. Let me go ahead and play the rest of this clip though while we wait to see if Black and Bougie is going to come back.
Emma Henderson continues our team coverage right now in Genoa, where the community is responding to this case.
And Emma, even the mayor has spoken out about this, we understand?
That's right. Genoa is a small village, so as you can imagine, the
Stream. Okay, you back? You good?
Yeah, I'm here. When my phone rings, I just feel like it's better to just exit and then come back. Yeah.
That's understandable.
But yeah, who's this?
This actually is a continuation of the clip that we were just watching. So you know how you know how he said like he was sounding off. Well, I guess they have a little bit more information. So let's finish this clip and then we'll talk about it if we have anything to commentate. I'll go ahead and push play. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
thoughts about Amber Eichner are on many people's minds, especially with her 4 kids being left behind. Now, Village Mayor Thomas Bergman wanted to convey everyone's condolences and said in part, quote, "On behalf of the Genoa community, I would like to express our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Amber Eichner, especially to her 4 children. May you find strength during this darkest time. This tragedy is heartbreaking for our entire community, and the grief is simply beyond words." He goes on to say that the community is a great place to raise your kids and that these crimes deserve swift justice. Now, I'll be following this story through tonight as we continue to get more details and speak to the community about this tragic update. Reporting live in Genoa, Emma Henderson, WTOL 11.
Okay, that was that clip. If I find anything, any updates about Amber Eichner, I'll go ahead and add it onto a playlist. Look, this says 111. I always see 11 ones. I don't know if that's just me, but it happens a lot. Have you heard of the Delphi murders, Black and Bougie?
Yes, with the 2 little girls on the train tracks.
Mm-hmm. I think they're talking to somebody that they suspect might have done it.
What I don't understand is about this guy. This is how you know that he did it. Now, first of all, he knows that he was on those train tracks that day. He's seen himself on the news. That's just like if you've seen your dad or your brother, and people are saying like, oh, well, he was the last person that was seen when these little girls were killed. Wouldn't you, your dad, and your whole family be calling the news saying like, he didn't do this, I didn't do this?
Right.
Like,
and no.
That's how you know he did do this. He's the killer.
Mm-hmm. I'm not too sure if The picture that they released today looks like the video that they got. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Delphi murders, it's these two little girls that were walking on the train tracks, and they had their smartphones out and they filmed a man that was, I don't know, following them or was there at the same time as them, and I think they also recorded like a soundbite of his voice. And then they turned up murdered, and they this whole time were trying to locate the man in the video. Let me go ahead and okay, let's get Black and Bougie back up on the screen. There you are.
Yeah, my bad. I really fucking hate. Nobody calls me any other time, but now I'm on here and people are calling. It's ridiculous.
You're popular. That's no problem.
Like, and then you see I'm not answering, so why are you still calling?
Hey, it could be an emergency. You never know.
It's not, believe me.
Okay.
But yeah, so who is
Oh yeah.
So you said somebody has came forward about that case? Because I haven't. It's like it's cold. Nobody's. Excuse
I
me.
don't know if you're that's okay. I don't know if you're familiar with Gray Hughes Investigates. He's another YouTuber, and he like always tries to update about the Delphi murders. I went ahead and I'm sharing the article that I'm looking at.
Yeah. Also, if you guys aren't familiar, listen to this channel called True Crime Brewery.
Oh, okay.
It's his husband and his wife, and they drink beer and they comment on like different beers, and then they talk about cases. People think it's disrespectful, but I mean,
You know what? When you're
I mean,
into
this
true
is the way
crime-
their channel is, huh?
Yeah, and what I was gonna say is when you're into true crime, you gotta be real careful not to sensationalize the situation, cause
And they don't.
Okay.
This is just the way their channel was set up. Believe me, if I thought it was done in bad taste, I would say it.
You're right.
It's not. This is just the way that their channel was set up. That couple has hit me onto some crimes that I hadn't even known about.
Right. I wrote it down. I'll check it out. The other day, I had a clip, and it was, I think it was yesterday actually, and it was a podcast clip, and I want to say they were called Murder in the Rain. We were like, whoa. But they always have these like silly, like witty names for true crime podcasts.
Yeah.
I think there's one that's like True Wine, like True Crime and Wine Time or something like that too. And they sit around, drink wine, and talk about true crime stories. This is the man, if you all are looking at the screen. So this is the clip that turned up on one of the little girls' smartphones. So everyone thinks that is the man that killed them. But I wanted to see if I could find a picture of, okay, so these are the victims, and this is the guy that they have for now. Let me see if I could see, like, get an update to see, like, what it is about him that makes them think that it was him that did it. So see, that's the picture of the guy. So I don't know if that could be this. What do you think?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he seems like he probably lost a little weight. Oh, Emmanuel. Yep. I am Melanated Misfit. Yep, I changed my name.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yep,
know
Emmanuel,
that.
that's my buddy.
Oh, okay. I was like, how do you
See, I
know
didn't know if that was him, so I didn't want to be like, oh, I know him. You know? But yeah, I know him from another channel. That's my buddy.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, this guy, are they saying this is him?
Yeah, I'm trying to find, you know what? Let me just try to find a clip, because the article sometimes drags on too long. And I could probably just
Yeah, and I'm watching you on TV, and my channel's frozen. Oh, okay, there it is.
Oh, okay, I'm
I was
good.
gonna say because my TV was frozen at first, but yeah.
No problem. Let me see if I could find an update. Really, all I would have to do is put Delphi murder, and then go through sort by upload date, and then I already found it. Let me just go ahead and stop sharing this screen and share the new one. That's gonna be Delphi murder, share audio, share. Alright, let's find a news clip, because news clips very rarely give channel holders any issues when, you know, playing them on live streams and stuff like that. Okay, so I have a clip here. I'll go ahead and play it. Let me just write down the...
I missed you too, Emmanuel. Get on the panel.
Will he? Has he ever gone in a panel? I don't think I've ever heard his voice before.
Okay, now with these little girls on the train tracks. Now, when we were kids, we used to do some crazy shit. But do you see how high up those train tracks are?
Yes.
Those little girls are brave as fuck.
Yeah, they probably grew up there.
Yeah, like, and then as parents, I don't think that I would let, because I've just started letting my children play away from the house and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't, like, my boys couldn't be like, hey, Mom, we're going to go on these train tracks, and they're like 50 feet up in the air. Like, no, the fuck you're not.
Right. I wasn't
Like, you're
allowed
not
to.
doing that.
No, I wasn't even allowed to go to the corner store by myself, and I was already, like, in high school. I was getting screamed at every time I left the house.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I would still sneak out, sneak people in. I was like, you can't keep me isolated. I was just a kid.
Yeah, they were just, they're just concerned parents. And then, you know, when we grow, we realize our parents weren't stupid. They knew the evils on this planet. They knew what people do to children.
Yeah, that's true. I probably got into, like, true crime and stuff like that because of the, I think her name is Kristen Smart. I don't know if you heard, that's a cold case from the mid-90s.
Elizabeth Smart.
Oh, Elizabeth Smart, okay. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Elizabeth Smart is not a cold case, so yeah, maybe you are talking about this.
Yeah, let me check. Kristen, I want to say, yeah, Kristen Smart. So there's an arrest on that case, and it turns out that they found her body, and it had been moved. And this was a case from like the mid-90s, and it's starting to move along. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm a 80s baby, so
Me too.
I would lay in the bed with my mom and watch Unsolved Mysteries and just be terrified.
Me too. I like to watch FBI Files too. I don't know if you got into that
Yeah, that
show.
shit is terrifying. I mean, you're just like under the covers listening to this shit, making sure all the doors and shit are locked.
That's real.
Paranoid as hell, but still watching it.
I liked it because it would give me nightmares, and I don't know why. It just my nightmares were always very creative, and scary movies weren't doing it anymore after a while. So my trip after that was having nightmares for some reason, watching Unsolved Mysteries, X-Files. Well, I was like in 7th grade, so that would do it. But now I think I'm desensitized in that aspect too. I think it's been a while since I've had a real nightmare.
Yeah, I think I probably have nightmares probably about 3 times a month.
Oh my gosh. I get sleep
it's like,
paralysis.
yeah, I used to have this same dream, and I can't wrap my mind around it. Like, I would be in like this neighborhood that I'm familiar with, and every time I decide to go the long way, I end up back where I started.
Oh my god.
And I would be so scared, and it's like, why does this keep happening? Like, it's terrifying. Like, I'm a scaredy cat, so I don't like that shit.
And if you were like to try to analyze it, maybe it's like a fear of like trying to start over but ending up in the same place. Kind of like the Blair Witch Project, if you ever saw that movie. You know how they were like walking, and then they came back around and ended up like back at where they were at the same log.
Yes.
And I started freaking out like that. That is scary.
Yeah, Emmanuel said that damn music from Unsolved Mystery scared the shit out of me too.
The music from Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon, the first time I heard it, I was like, holy shit. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm in. Observing says.
Would you say this is right up my alley, huh?
Yeah, so like, that's where it started, I want to say. But Observing says, can you easily walk through haunted houses? No, because that's different. That's people. I don't trust people. If I were to go to like one of those like haunted, like a real haunted house, like, or do you mean like a place where like people died and there's rumors that it's haunted? Like, will I go in there? Yes. But if it's like a,
I
like
would never. Are you?
you
You would
kidding
do
me?
that?
Yeah, I've done it. There's a place
Oh
here.
hell
There's a
no!
place here called La Lomita, okay? And it's called that because it's on a hill, and it's a big it's not a big building, but it looks kind of like a church. But apparently back in the day it was an insane asylum, and it was also a church. And the rumor is that the priest was raping the nuns there and killing them. And I want to say that maybe like where the property was, like there might have also been some kind of like battle too. So it's just like, there's a lot of rumors that there's ghosts and stuff. So one day I made a friend with some girl that I worked with, and I was like, yeah, I keep hearing about this place in Mission. Like, have you been there? She was like, yeah, all you got to do is just take the security guard some Whataburger, which is like a burger and like fries and a drink, and he'll let you like on the property. So we went over there at night, and we got on the property, and we were running around, and I want to say that there's like stairs going down into the basement, and I swear I saw it like move a little bit, and that's
Oh
where
my God! Please shut up. You have balls of steel. Like somebody could be like, "I'm gonna give you $1 million, just do it." I'll just keep being poor. Fuck that. I'm not doing it. No.
But I would have to be like, listen, if it's people like fucking with you, like forget it. I won't do it. But if it's like a legit haunted place, I want to feel the vibes there. So listen, so after that happened, I went around, and then I went towards the front of the building, and then, well, like I said, it's on a hill. So I started running like down the hill, and a friend of mine was in front of me, and they turned around and they took a picture of me. And this was back in like 2001, and I had one of those disposable cameras, so I wasn't using a digital camera yet. So I went to go have the photos developed, and right next to my head was an orb like this big, and I remember that I was getting a headache, and that's why I ran away from like that area, because I was getting like a really, really bad vibe. And then when I developed the pictures, there was a big old bubble right next to my head, and I was like, holy shit, and I never went back.
See, now what if your ass would have got stuck in there? See, you can't pay me to do that shit. And little FYI, I'm an atheist. Like, I don't believe in gods, devils, nothing.
Ghosts.
But it's just something about, I think what it is, since I'm not for certain, like I'm not 100% certain that this stuff does not exist, I'm not even willing to fuck with it. Like, I don't. Remember that movie 1408?
I think so. Was Nicolas Cage in it, or
Not Nicolas Cage, the other guy.
John Cusack? Who was it?
Yes, John Cusack. I couldn't help but feeling like I felt so bad for him. Like, that movie gives me like claustrophobia. Like, it makes me nervous as fuck.
So you're afraid of closed spaces?
You know what I was afraid of? The fact that he couldn't leave. You know, it was like no matter what he did, he couldn't escape. I was like, yeah, I'm never watching this shit again. Yeah, I'm a fucking scaredy cat. Like, I can't.
Did you ever see the show called, I want to say it was called Fear on MTV? It was like the early 2000s, and it had the theme song Voodoo by Godsmack. Does that sound familiar?
No.
So it's a group of like young adults, right? And I'm pretty sure all of this was like fabricated to be scary, right? But basically the premise was that it's strangers that get together, and they all have like cameras like on them, and then like out, and like flashlights and stuff, and then they go to a room, and then they go to a computer, and then it tells them like, okay, we're in this place, probably like an insane asylum or something like that. You need to go to this room, and where all this stuff happened, and you have to sit there and until we tell you like that you're done. And then of course like all this scary stuff starts moving around. They hear sounds, they swear something touched them. I was just like, they gotta be messing with them.
No.
But they, of course, they get a reward at the end. So I know that's something you would want to pass up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit how much what's the point of me getting this money? If I don't even survive, or I'm not even in my right mind anymore. Like, no.
Yeah.
Hell no. Ohio, we have a lot of quote unquote haunted like places here. Like, you can stay in haunted hotels, you can go to haunted parts of City Hall. And the way that people line up for that shit, no way. And I am a horror fanatic. Like I'm a horror connoisseur.
Yeah.
Like there are very few horror movies that I haven't seen, but like The Real Thing, you cannot pay me to subject myself to that shit.
See, and I'm the opposite. I trust, I
No.
think, dead people over live ones.
Yeah, I can't. No. I don't trust anybody. Alive people, ghosts, vampires, goblins. I don't trust none of that shit.
Do you have Shudder?
Do I think I do have Shudder on my TV upstairs.
Yeah,
I
I think there's
I
like
do.
I think there's a free version and there's another one that's like $5 a month or something like that. We had it for a little while and there was some movies that I saw that were really good. You know, once I remember what they were, I'll probably like drop the links in the chat or something like that so people could see, because some of their movies are really good and they're like independent, and those are some of my favorite scary movies, or like the low
Yes.
budget ones.
I love independent film.
Definitely.
Yeah, maybe around Halloween, everybody can call in and give a ghost story or two, so I can be in this bitch under the covers crying and shit.
That idea. There's
Like I remember when I was a kid and there was an old lady, like, oh my God.
There's a creepypasta. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with creepypasta, but those stories aren't
Yeah.
real. But there's one there called Three Kings. And when I first found out about it, it was like real late at night and I was just like getting ready to go to sleep, and I was like, let me scroll on my phone for a little bit, and I remembered about that story, so I read it, and it actually scared me. Just like reading it and picturing like the process, it was pretty crazy. Have you ever heard it?
No, I've heard of the creepypastas. I first
Okay.
started watching them when this was probably like 7 years ago, and I didn't have a car. And I would get on the bus and go to this old lady's house. This lady had a mansion like, I don't know, it was about 10, 15 miles away from me. And I would just help her get in bed and like clean up her kitchen and stuff. And she didn't really like any lights on in her house. And I'm like, lady, I'm listening to creepypasta. Like, I can't be, cleaning up your fucking house with the lights off. Like, she'd be like, I only want the light on over the stove. Like, no, bitch, I need the light on in the dining room, the kitchen, the living room, and the hallway.
And that's how I am
I'm
too.
like,
I like it dark.
Oh, hell no. Yeah, you got some big kahunas, Ray. I gotta give it to you, girl.
Oh, yeah, it's been weird, and you gotta make things interesting whenever possible, and for some reason I go straight to creepy, spooky, weird, aliens. I've been getting sleep paralysis since like high school too, so I want to say that's probably around the time that I started getting into like crazy, freaky shit.
Yeah, I've had sleep paralysis on a occasion, and it's horrifying. I would love to know the science behind it, how it's even possible for a person to experience shit like that. It's horrible.
It's sometimes psychological too, because I remember like once I started like getting into like creepy stuff, I was really young. I was talking on the phone, and like I said, I like to have the house like pretty dark. And I was talking on the phone, and we were talking about some weird stuff, and then I don't know why, like I just felt like a presence, and I could have swore I saw a shadow person.
And I would have jumped out that goddamn window. I don't play that shit.
It was a moment like, wait, did I just see that? And I remember like I had the cordless phone. This was like in the 90s, and I sat down on the bed. I was talking to my friend, and I was like, dude, like you might need to come over. Like I think I just saw something like a shadow person. It was like a dark figure, but it wasn't like solid. It was crazy.
Oh my God, yeah. Emmanuel said we have Winchester Mystery House out here in my hometown. That place is pretty spooky. Where? What state?
That's in California. I want to say it's like Northern California, maybe like the Bay Area. But it's this woman, her name was Sarah Winchester, and she came from I want to say the East Coast, and she lost her husband. And I want to say that they invented like the Winchester rifle, or they had something to do with that.
Oh,
So
wow.
she had money, right? So when he died, she moved to California, to the coast, to the other side of the country, and I guess something happened to her, or maybe she had something going on the whole time, but she started building a house, and she gave the instructions to have like doors that go to like just like a drop where it's like the third floor or something like that, and you open a door, and if you take one more step you literally go like all the way down. Some stairs to go up to just like the roof. There's no way to like get out, and her logic allegedly was that she felt haunted by ghosts, and they were following her around the house, and she was wanting to trick them and make them like get lost and things like that. So she made like crazy like passageways through the house, and well, she's no longer around, so they use the house as like a place that you could tour, and you can, well, somebody like guides you and shows you like all the rooms and stuff like that. But I'm not too sure if actual like haunted activity has happened there other than like the crazy story. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
sounds
I'll
like
never know.
happening.
Sarah ain't never got to worry about me. Sarah never has to think for 1 second that I would ever bother her coming to her house or anything like that. So.
I might go. There's another place too that I want to say is maybe in Southern California or somewhere else, but it's not so much like a haunted house, but it's a mystery house. I remember one of the things that they said about it was like the floor is supposed to be even, but if you stand people like apart from each other, one person looks really tall and the other person looks really short, and there's just like supposedly no like scientific explanation for it. I'm sure there is.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And another thing too, that allegedly you could stand a broom upside down and it'll stay like stood up.
Oh, hell no. Yeah. Bye-bye. Fuck that. That motherfucker be standing up by his damn self. He won't have me around.
See, and I'm curious.
I'm not. Not even a tad bit, no.
Emmanuel asks if anybody's ever messed with the Ouija board. I always wanted
Never in
to.
life.
I just can't find a partner. Because aren't you supposed to do that with somebody? I don't think you can do that by yourself. That's something you gotta find somebody to do that with.
Okay, who in this chat would actually do this?
Who wants to?
Just put a 1 in the chat.
Put a 1 in the chat.
Because whoever puts 1, I'm not fucking with none of y'all. Hell
just
no.
Sage it. Just sage the energy and you can start over.
Lisa said she has, but it was years ago. Lisa, what happened?
Yeah, tell us about it.
That's insane.
I heard you can make one. You could just put like the letters and make like a makeshift whatever that thing is that you move around. See, but how would that work with you though, since you're atheist? Like, do you still believe like in souls and like ghosts and spirits and stuff like that?
I believe that there is a realm of this life that I'm not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, the same way there's no proof of there being any gods or any devils, there's no proof, that there's not, demons and stuff. Like, we don't know. Just like, think of all the evil people in this world, like, doing stuff that you and I wouldn't even dream of doing. What if demons live inside of them? Like,
I mean, it would explain evil.
Yeah, it would. And I'd even beg to differ to say that, the way that the world is, I'd believe in the devil before I'd believe in a God.
I always
because
thought
it seems like evil prevails,
Oh, well, yeah, when you put it that way. Like,
Yeah, it seems like evil is always winning. You never really see, you see random acts of kindness from people, and people like, oh, this lady helped us get some food, or, somebody donated a heart or a liver to somebody, little stuff like that. But in the end, evil always wins. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, definitely, especially if you're like a true crime buff. That's pretty much all we look at, right?
Yeah. And then, like, when people even go to jail for, like, hurting people, it's still not justice because, the person is still dead, and then the person that goes to prison, they at least get 3 meals a day and get to watch TV and shit. Like, nothing ever happens.
Emmanuel says, I did that once and I'll never do that shit again. You did the Ouija board? Tell us about it. I don't know if that's what he means. And then he also said to look up the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. Are you familiar with that? With that hotel?
No, I've never heard. You know what?
Let me
I
tell
think
you.
I've seen something.
I bet you have.
Okay, have you guys seen footage of this Asian girl
Elisa
who,
Lam.
okay, so you know who I'm talking about, and she was never
Yes.
seen again, and she was acting erratic on an elevator or something, and they were saying like how that hotel was just like a sleazy trash bag,
Yes.
place where all these people were getting killed. Yeah, I hadn't even heard of that. My sister had told me about that a couple months ago.
Did you know that the Night Stalker stayed there too?
Richard
People thought-
Ramirez?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a fucking demon.
Uh-huh. That was crazy. They if you have Netflix, they actually did a documentary about the Cecil Hotel, and they did an interview with the lady that was a manager at the time. But yeah,
Oh my God.
that was a real crazy case. Apparently, the reason why Elisa Lam even ended up there is because, well, I don't know if you knew this, but the Cecil Hotel is apparently right next to Skid Row, so it's like a really not a great area of LA. And they were trying to kind of revamp their image, so they set aside like a certain part to, and they called it, I forgot what they called it, but it was like some alleged like hip, young, modern kind of name to attract like young tourists and stuff. And that's how she ended up there, because she was from Canada, so she didn't even know any better that the Cecil Hotel was right next to Skid Row. Like anybody else that would hear that would be like, oh, I'm not going over there. Skid Row's scary.
Right. Yeah, it seemed like she was like a naive, innocent girl trying to find herself or whatever.
Did you hear about the conspiracy theories though too around like that case?
No, look, I'm gonna call right back. My phone is going
Okay.
dead, so I'm gonna get this other battery. But yeah, I want to
Go
hear
for it.
about it. I'll call back.
Okay, no problem. I'll go ahead and watch and play some videos and just wait for you to come back.
Okay.
Okay, see you in a bit. Alright, let me go ahead and stop the screen. I went ahead and found the updates about the Delphi murder, so as soon as Black and Bougie comes back, we could probably look at those. But let's continue on with the playlist for now. And let's share audio. Let's share. How did she get into the water tank? That was a crazy like part of the situation as well, because they said the door should have been closed and that they're not light, they're heavy, and she was so skinny, so like I can't imagine her being as strong as like a maintenance worker that's used to like opening and closing like a big heavy door like that. But the thing was is that she had undressed herself, and her clothes were thrown into the water, and then she ended up in there without clothes, and then she started decomposing, and well, because she was in the water was coming out like dirty, smelly for the guests, and that was such a crazy story. But let's look at this next clip. It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds long. It's about a cold case from the 80s. It's called Hudson Police Take Fresh Look at 1987 Murder Case of Janice Christensen, and that's going to be courtesy of News 5 Cleveland. Sorry.
Well, Hudson police say a cold case 3 decades old is now heating up.
Investigators believe fingerprints or DNA evidence could solve the murder of Janice Christensen, who was attacked and stabbed on a running trail back in 1987.
As Bob Jones shows us, a state cold case unit is also working to find that suspect.
This is Hudson's only unsolved murder.
The murder of 31-year-old Janice Christensen. In August of 1987, she went for a run on the bike and hike trail.
She was an avid runner. She was quite the athlete.
But when she didn't come home, her worried husband, Ken, took the family dog on a search for Janice and found her the next day.
The dog stopped, and Ken ultimately found his wife deceased on the side of the bike and hike trail.
Janice had been raped and stabbed over and over, her car stolen, a vicious killing that stunned neighbors who talked to News 5 nearly 34 years ago.
We always thought we were out in the country. This type of stuff always happens in the city. It doesn't happen out here.
In 1987, police also released a sketch of a man wanted for an unsolved rape in Cuyahoga Falls and said he could also be Janice's killer.
We haven't ruled out any suspects.
Today, Hudson Detective Tavis Campbell told us the department is taking a fresh look at Janice's case, and major progress after all these years is possible.
We have a lot of suspects, and we're hoping through the advances in technology we can narrow that pool down significantly.
Hudson police have turned over every piece of possible evidence gathered in the crime to BCI agents, who are now examining all of it for any shred of DNA. The lead BCI special agent on the case says in addition to potential DNA clues, crime scene fingerprints are also being re-examined.
I do believe there's good evidence in this case, yes. I believe any case that is being reviewed has potential to produce a new lead.
The killing is the first Summit County case to be investigated by a state cold case unit created by the Attorney General's office last year.
Pursuing justice is always time well spent. Whether how much time has gone past, it doesn't matter.
In the meantime, detectives continue to ask for help from the public.
Maybe there's going to be that one person that goes, man, this just doesn't feel right. There's just something I remember, and maybe they can give us that extra lead.
And Detective Campbell says all it takes is the right lead to finally get justice for Janice.
We don't want it to fade out of people's memories, and every day it gets a little bit further away from when Janice was killed.
In Hudson, Bob Jones, News 5.
Okay, 1 second. Usually these play.
Now to a...
Yeah, it makes no sense. All right, let's continue on to the next clip. We got 9 more to go so far, and it's called Man Arrested for Rape at Berwick Grocery Store After Citizens Detain Suspect, and that's going to be courtesy of WSAV3, and Black and Bougie's back, so let's add her to the stream. You here?
Yeah, so who's this?
All right. What, the next case, or?
Yeah, where it says man arrested for rape at...
Oh yeah, we're gonna take a look at it right now. It says Chatham County Police Department has arrested a man accused of sexually assaulting a woman at a Berwick area grocery store. He sexually assaulted a woman at a grocery store. That's disgusting, but let's go ahead and watch the clip. So, oh my gosh. That's my dog. I'm gonna mute myself while I play this clip.
A story that has a lot of you talking on social media. It involves one woman's terrifying ordeal at a Chatham County grocery store.
Police say the woman was kidnapped and raped at a Kroger store in the Berwick community, that is in West Chatham County. Tonight, 26-year-old Gregory Hawthorne is in the Chatham County Jail. He faces several charges, including rape and battery.
Police say at least 3 people in the grocery store, including some employees, came to the woman's aid in the minutes after the attack. WSAV News 3's Alex Bozargian spent the day talking to investigators about this case, and she is joining us now from where the man was detained and has our top story.
Well, bystanders knew something was wrong when they heard the woman scream from the bathroom. Now, a witness tells me that it was actually a couple that zip-tied this man and held a gun to him until police showed up. And police tell me that it was because of their heroic actions that Hawthorne is behind bars.
This doesn't happen often.
It was still light out, and like most days, Kroger was full of shoppers. Yet police say this man, Gregory Hawthorne, followed a woman into the grocery store bathroom and raped her.
As alarming as it was, I'm thankful that we were able to make an arrest, and I don't feel there's any further danger or anyone should be concerned about going there and shopping.
Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley says the woman's scream could be heard from outside the bathroom. A few shoppers and Kroger employees realized what happened, who did it, and began chasing the man. Witnesses chased Hawthorne all the way through the parking lot and ended up at this Ace Hardware, where they held him down until police came.
You know, I just can't commend them enough for involving themselves in a dangerous situation, obviously, so this person could be, you know, held accountable and we could make an arrest so there wasn't any further danger to the community.
Director Doris Williams with the Rape Crisis Center says 8 in 10 rapes are committed by someone the victim knows. In this case, he was a stranger, and Williams says it's a good thing bystanders jumped into action.
Because in the day that we're in now, you have people, and sometimes when they see things, they'll record it. They'll pull out a camera before they call 911.
Williams says their bravery was amazing, and she reminds any survivor that there is support if and when they need it.
I hope that in any situation, we will see others rally and respond the same way to support a survivor.
Now, the chief says officers are in the process of pulling security camera footage and processing evidence. Now, if you or anyone you know needs help, you can call the Rape Crisis Center at 912-233-7273.
That's crazy. This world is just going to hell in a handbasket, in my opinion. This is what
He reminds me of that bastard Gregory Green,
Gregory
the
Green.
that killed all his children and his wife's children.
Oh my God. All
And
the children?
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, all of them are dead. Here's the kicker. This story pissed me off so bad because it was easily preventable. He was in prison for killing his first wife and her unborn baby. So this bitch and her father advocated for him to get out. You know, oh, God forgives and people turn their life around and this, that, and the third. And then he turns around and kills her children.
Oh my God.
Like, she needs to go to jail for accessory to murder. People are like, oh, look how strong she is. She just lost her children. No, she's not strong.
No.
She was hard up for some prison dick, and now her children are dead. And he is a psychopath.
I found an article. Is this him?
Yes.
Okay, it says a woman married a paroled murderer. Years later, he killed all her children.
See?
Oh my gosh.
You should show the one where he was in court and he's like, yeah, God got a plan for everything. Like, what is God's plan for this, loser?
Well, if we're right and there is no God, or if it turns out that Satan's God here, that might make sense. What was his name, Gregory?
Yeah, because there is literally no rhyme or reason behind this.
Let me see.
And then out of all the people that could be getting out for good behavior, people who have changed their life around, you know, people that have went to jail for having bricks of cocaine or, you know, pounds and pounds of weed or, you know, selling heroin and stuff. And y'all let him out of all people?
Yeah. I want to say that they're more aggressive on financial crimes than they are on crimes that involve people losing their lives.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to drinking and driving. I've noticed like that the whatever they get is like 2 years, 3 years, and a whole like life was lost over that. And then the suspect ends up just doing a little bit of time and then getting kicked back out into society.
Yeah, to only turn around and commit the same offense again. Like, when are they going to admit that just some people just cannot be rehabbed? Like, and anyway, rehab is for addiction, not being a cold-blooded killer.
Right.
Like, you cannot rehab psychopathy.
That's true.
You just can't. It's a fucking, it's a character flaw. Like,
yeah. It says here that the date of the murders were in 91, and then I guess the second time it happened was in 2016. So like right now I'm trying to find like clips or something like that, but I'm not too sure if it got covered. Let me see.
there's YouTube videos of it.
Here, let me switch real quick to a different screen because I think I found something. I just wanted to ask you if I'm on the right track here. Hold on. Okay, is this her? And this him? It says Faith Green speaks before Gregory Green's sentencing.
Yes.
That's them?
Yes.
And then it says grandfather of murdered children urged for parole of Gregory Green. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, this is their fucking fault. It's his fault and his daughter's fault.
For letting him out the first time.
Yeah, like I don't care about your dad being a preacher. Okay, so where's all this discernment. You know how people, oh, God gives me discernment. Well, he didn't give it to you that day.
Or you ignored it.
Right. What the hell are you doing?
Here's this: 47 years prison for father in slaying of 4 kids. He says
Yeah,
he's
he
sorry.
killed 2 of her children. Just listen to what he says. Click on that one. It's disgusting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's that one.
Okay, let's push play. Hopefully I don't have to. Yeah,
A Dearborn Heights man who killed his 4 children last year will not be eligible for parole until he's 97 years old. 50-year-old Gregory Green was sentenced to at least 47 years in prison today. Last month, he admitted to shooting his 2 stepchildren and killing his 2 daughters by carbon monoxide poisoning in September. The children's mother was also shot and stabbed, but survived. She spoke out in court today, saying justice will come for her husband when he, quote, burns in hell for all eternity.
Okay, that was that.
She's beautiful. Like, what the fuck is wrong with her? I just think she's so pretty, you know? Like, what you can get other men. Like, what the hell are you doing?
I don't know. Not only that, but you could be single too.
Exactly.
You just support yourself if you can, or I don't know. That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
wanted you guys to hear the one where he's giving his final statements for I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, let me see. This is him getting sentenced. Let's see. I'm trying to find something that's safe to show, and it's always. It looks like even the Spanish station picked it up. Múltiple homicidio en Detroit deja a la ciudad entera en vela. That's wild. Man officially charged with murder, torture in Dearborn Heights case. I don't know if this is him speaking. Let's see. Has more of him being accused.
There's one at the top that says 28 seconds. Do you think it's that one?
Okay, let me see. Did I skip it?
Yeah, it's more at the top. It's when we first got
This one, 47 years prison for father and slaying of 4 kids.
No, it's only 28 seconds. I'm thinking it's that one. Keep going, keep going. Okay, you see right there where it says 47 years prison for father and slaying of 4 kids.
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and play it.
A Dearborn Heights man who killed his 4 children last year will not be eligible for parole until he's 97 years old. 50-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know which one it is, but he was talking about God's plan and all that horse shit.
Maybe if I put speaks. Okay, that's faith speaking. And then that's the sentencing. Oh, here we go. Father to murder kids speaks. Let's check this one out. I think it's this one.
Glenda, it is simply unimaginable. Chadney Allen Sr. lost his only children, allegedly killed by a man who tried to use an insanity defense in 1992 when he killed his wife and unborn child.
My daughter was beautiful, cheerleading, and she had her head on her shoulders, and my son was a graduate. He was doing things, he wanted to be a producer, you know. He had high potential. I just felt like I lost all my, you know, I never knew that it would end so soon like this.
Chadney Allen Sr. cannot believe his 2 children, 17-year-old Kara and 19-year-old Chadney Jr. are gone. Police say their stepfather shot them both in front of their mother to punish her because she wanted a divorce and he suspected she had been cheating.
I know they were calling for me. I know my daughter. They was wishing I was there to help them.
Dearborn Heights police say Gregory Green also murdered his own biological daughters, 6-year-old Coy and 4-year-old Kaylee. Green's brother claims the children's mother, Faith Green, knew her husband murdered his first wife, Tanya.
Like I got hit by a semi-truck because I had no idea that that guy was who he was.
I was told to.
Okay, so I guess this is the biological father speaking, not the suspect.
just numb.
We talked on the phone to Monica Johnson. It was her cousin, Tanya Green, who Gregory Green murdered in 1991. Tanya's oldest daughter, Danielle, hid in a closet. Her youngest, Bridget, had cerebral palsy and was not injured. But Tanya was pregnant with Green's baby when he stabbed her to death.
The last stab when they said went through the baby's heart, and that's what actually killed the baby.
The family was devastated a second time when Green was only sentenced to 15 years in prison.
I hope he never sees daylight again.
The father of two of Green's latest murder victims wishes he had known that Green murdered his first wife and unborn child.
I don't even think any punishment could fit the crime. If we had the electric chair, I would want him to fry.
And in 1992, Gregory Green's own mother asked the judge for leniency in that murder case. She said, quote, "I don't believe a long sentence will make him any better because he has suffered already and will continue to suffer for the rest of his life."
Is she serious?
I know. I can't believe
That
what
is
I'm
the
hearing.
stupidest fucking shit. Let my son take a woman's life in her baby's life.
Oh my God. And she's like, oh, punishing him isn't going to make it better, so just let him out. The fuck?
That's ridiculous. I can't.
Yep. And so many
You
other
asked for
stories.
leniency for your piece of shit son,
Mm-hmm.
and then he turns around and does this shit again. Okay, so their blood is on her hands too. Everybody that advocated for this fucking trash bag it should be in jail for murder, like, period.
Yeah, I feel you. Trying to see if they do say anything about him, like, speaking up, but I don't think they have, like, I don't think the news, like, you know, picked up on it, or maybe.
Yeah,
because
because I seen it before, because I think it was after, I don't know if it was after the mom spoke,
Mm-hmm.
because the mom was like, I'm moving on with my life. You're gonna burn in hell for what you did to my kids. It was just stupid.
That sounds crazy. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I'm finding anything of him, like, speaking for himself, but I believe it. Yeah, I'm not finding anything, unfortunately.
I think guys like him, I think they do stuff because they don't like living outside of prison.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I can't handle society, so I want to go to prison. But why not just do something else? Like, just go rob a bank or something. Like, you don't have to kill people to go back to prison for a long time.
Well, even robbing a bank can get tricky.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to kill the teller. Just pull out a gun, say, give me the money, you're going to get arrested, and you're going to do like 25 years.
You know what that reminds me of? Have you ever seen this documentary on Netflix called Evil Genius?
I've heard of it.
So, long story short, this man had something like a bear trap around his neck that these two other people put around him, and they told him that he needed to rob a bank, and that once he did that, they were going to send him like on a kind of like a treasure hunt, if you will, and to find the keys to take the thing off. But I think they set him, yes, and I think they set him up completely because there was no keys to take it off. So what happened is the police were very confused about what he was trying to do, because he had this like thing like under his shirt, and the timer ran out, and the thing it closed in on his head, and even then the police didn't want to go like near him to help him. They were that scared to get close to him.
No, is that true, or it's just a show?
No, it's true. They made a documentary out of it, and I want to say that all the people that were involved have already passed away.
I have never heard of anything. That's
I only knew about it because of Netflix, but I don't know how trailers if they get copyrighted, but I think what I can do is just put the link. Hang on, let me do this real quick. I can go ahead and just share the link.
like,
and then
why did they do this to him? So I'm assuming he died, right? From it being caught on his neck?
Yes. It literally like popped his head like a watermelon. Yeah,
Damn.
and they showed it and everything. It's crazy. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, that sounds like something that Jigsaw would do in the movie Saw.
Yes, it was exactly like that, and it was just so sad. And some people thought that he was involved too, and that maybe he just didn't know that the other two people were setting him up to ultimately, die that way. But it just didn't make sense, because if he was meant to die that way, how was he supposed to get the money to them? So I don't know if
Exactly.
I don't know if they explained that in the movie, because it's been a few years. Well, this says 2 years ago. But yeah, that's a pretty crazy documentary. I like to watch documentaries too, like true crime
Me too.
documentaries. Yeah, they're interesting. Let me see. Let me go ahead and stop sharing this screen. And then Emmanuel Briggs was asking about a John Lang. Have you heard of John Lang from Fresno?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, me either. Let me see. Let me see what we have. So it's here's an article from Reddit, and then here's an article from Fresno Bee. Let's go with Fresno Bee, which means I got to stop screen and then share again. Bear with me. Here we go. I'll go ahead and read it, if you don't mind.
Sure.
All right, let's see. It says, death of John Lang is suspicious Fresno house fire ruled suicide. It says a Fresno County coroner has ruled the death of a man found in a burning central Fresno home in January as a suicide. Fresno police originally reported that John Lang, 51, had been stabbed in his abdomen and upper back. How's that suicide? On January 20th, homicide detectives began investigating. Tony Body, a spokesman for the Fresno County Sheriff and Coroner, said Thursday that Lang had 3 superficial self-inflicted stab wounds to his chest and no cuts on his back. Despite initial reports by law enforcement, a more detailed official coroner's report will be released sometime next month, he added. Body said investigators believe Lang started the fire himself. Fresno Police Lieutenant Burke Farah, head of the department's homicide unit, said the confusion about the wounds was the result of incorrect information released at the scene by Lieutenant Joe Gomez, the department's public information officer. He is waiting for the official coroner's report, but he said that the information gathered during his detective's investigation also pointed to suicide. Joe made a mistake, Farah said. This is an aberration. Typically, we are very careful. He continued, when you start from a false premise, that's what allows this to spin out of control. Lang's death has caused some online controversy. 5 days before he died, Lang left ABC 30 reporter Corin Hoggard a Facebook comment saying, corrupt Fresno cops are going to try and kill me this weekend, possibly tonight. This is no joke. Lang's social media accounts and personal blog contained posts saying that the Fresno County Sheriff's Office and Fresno Police Department were corrupt. He also posted videos, allegedly from a security camera on the front of his house, of what he said were law enforcement members watching his house. Multiple alternative media outlets reported on Lang, and a video allegedly made of Bakersfield section of the hacker group Anonymous was posted to YouTube threatening revenge against the city of Fresno. A post to the social website Reddit early Thursday morning had received more than 1,200 upvotes, similar to liking something on Facebook, and 100 comments by 5 p.m. The post calls Lang a police accountability activist and asks forum users to make his story undeniably famous. What do you think?
He didn't do that. For one, nobody can stab themselves in the back, and the fact that he said what he said about the police, of course they're ruling it a suicide because they know they did it.
And one cop said that he had a stab to the. How do you stab yourself to the back? What if that is true? And then they were told, "Hey, shut up! Like you don't know what's going on here." You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like.
That's stupid. Like they should have left that part out. Like if you want people to believe this is a suicide, at least don't tell them that he stabbed himself in the back. And then what a horrible death. Like if you want to kill yourself, why are you going to be like, okay, I'm going to stab myself in the abdomen, and then while I bleed out, I'm going to set this house on fire.
Listen, I'm not the expert on suicides, but it's usually like the wrist. I've even heard like the neck, but like stabbing your abdomen, like I've never in real life heard of that. I don't think in a case. And definitely
Yeah,
like
me
your own
neither.
back, like, oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah, they did
That's
that shit.
crazy. Yeah, I believe it too. So let's see, where are we at here? There was another case I was gonna ask you if you knew about. If it comes to what's his name? Robert Durst. Are you familiar with him?
I don't think so.
Okay,
You might.
so
What did he do?
okay, so it's I heard about him because of a documentary on HBO. Whenever I back in the day I had like a free trial of it, and I wanted to watch all the documentaries on there because they have some really good true crime ones. And that was one of the
Mhm.
ones I saw, and I want to say it's called The Jinx, and it's about this man, and he was younger back in the day. He's an old man now. Um, but he might have killed his wife. I think they ruled it a suicide, but oh no, his mom was had suicided herself, but according to him, she was like pushed off. And then he might have killed, I want to say his fiance or maybe his girlfriend, I'm not too sure, but they couldn't like get him for it. And then while he wasn't being investigated, he was from New York. He moved to Galveston, which is in Texas, and he had an apartment there. And this is a really, really rich guy, and he had like a real low income looking apartment, and he was wearing dresses and wigs to conceal his identity. And allegedly he got into an argument or something like that with his neighbor because they lived like their apartments were, how do I say, it was like one house, and then like his apartment was one side of the house and then the other apartment was on the other side of the house, so
Oh
they're
yeah,
not.
like a two family.
Yeah, exactly like that. So they probably like bumped into each other. They probably communicated, whatever. And well, the other man was missing, and then his body turned up like in the river or the Galveston, whatever. I think it's what, the Gulf of Mexico. I'm not too sure. I don't know my geography that good, but his body turned up and it was like chopped up into pieces. And then Robert Durst gets apprehended, and then he is arrested and accused of murdering the man, and he posts bail. And since he's rich, he's like, okay, like I paid my bail, whatever. And then he just took off, and they caught him because he was stealing a sandwich, and that's how they caught him, and then like put him back in jail. And then I guess he got two Texas lawyers that were really, really good, and they were able to basically like get him acquitted. And then after that, he was accused of killing his best friend out in California, who probably knew like like the facts of everything that was going on. Like he was probably
Right.
telling her what he was doing, and then she turned up dead. And I want to say he's like very close to death himself. If you see him, he's a little old man now, and he's still in court. Like pretty much all his life, he's been in and out of like court, getting arrested,
Fighting
being
murder
accused.
cases
Yeah. Mhm.
for shit that he knows that he did.
Course. Yeah.
Oh
All
my
of them.
God, I've never
Who?
heard of that.
Yeah, it's on HBO. It's called The Jinx. I'm gonna say it's like 4 or 5 like episodes. Sometimes you can find some documentaries and stuff like on YouTube if you catch it like at a right time. Have you heard of the Gypsy Rose story? You probably have.
Yes,
Yeah, sometimes that
yes.
movie's on here on YouTube where you could just watch it, and sometimes like they take it down.
I can't believe that they won't let that girl out. Like, come on.
They're working on it. I think she's getting help. I want to say that she's getting like help right now
She can
to
get
turn her
help
life around.
outside of prison.
Mhm.
And then like
That's
that
true.
autistic guy, like, like
What do you think about
I
him?
just to me it's really sensitive because it's like, okay,
Mhm.
this kid, I mean, he isn't wrapped too tight because if you can do that, if somebody can convince you to do that, you are, a threat and dangerous to an extent, but it's like, come on, cut him some fucking slack. He's autistic.
What do you think about this though? Did you know that before that happened, he was, I want to say, arrested for watching porn at Burger King, like next to the kids area, and and when they arrested him, he had a knife.
Oh my God. See,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
See, and that's why, it's like, he's probably dangerous,
Mhm.
So,
And then
yeah,
he's
well, maybe he
easily.
doesn't need to get out. Shit.
Yeah, yeah. Because I wanted to feel like sympathetic for him too, because again he was manipulated by somebody that was being abused. She herself like didn't really know it. Not that she didn't know what she was doing, but I mean she was going through a lot. She was wanting to escape a situation where she was being medically tortured, and then she just happened to meet the right type of person that would give her what she wanted. So
Right.
I have mixed feelings about Gypsy too, because in the documentary she even says herself, she's like, I didn't even tell my lawyers everything. So her mom taught her to be like sneaky, if you
Yeah,
will.
like a little liar and a manipulator. I'm sure early on she probably started to realize like, maybe nothing is wrong with me. Maybe my mom is making
Crazy.
me play this up for the cameras. I mean, what's her mom's name? I forget.
Oh yeah, what is her? Dee.
Yeah, Dee made Gypsy crazy.
Mhm.
Like she turned that girl into a nut job.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, just let her out and let her. Maybe she needs to be in an institution or something. I don't know.
That's really tricky situation.
Yeah, because and the thing is, what if the damage that she's done to her is irreparable, and then she gets out on the streets and starts manipulating, and then she kills again? Like
Yes.
I don't know. You never know.
Exactly. Yep. And then we're over here going, oops.
Exactly. Like and like the hardcore, like pro like the people that love prison and cops, they're like, that's why we gotta be tough on these criminals because you guys are too liberal. And
Mhm. Oh
it's
my
like you never
gosh.
know.
You can't win those conversations. It's always got to be one way or the other. So I found it's not a news clip. What am I saying? I don't know if it's an episode of something, but I'm gonna put it in the chat for anybody who wants to watch it later. It's called The Murders of Kathleen McCormick, Susan Berman, and Morris Black, and that's the Robert Durst story. If you want to like queue
Okay,
that
yeah,
up.
I'm gonna watch that later.
Yeah, put it like in your history, or maybe put in a playlist or something where you can go back to it.
Okay,
I
there's this
have
guy, and I
yeah.
can't think of his name at all, and I
Mhm.
forget how I found it because I think it was on 48 Hours Mystery or something like that.
Okay.
This guy was crazy as cat shit. So when he was like in between like 12 and 14, he shot his pregnant mom and killed her. He shot her with a shotgun and killed her.
Uh huh.
Well, for whatever reason, his dad and well, not his dad, well, his somehow he got out of jail. I mean, I think because it was in the 70s and they were like, oh, well, there's nothing you can do. He's a child. We can't put him in prison.
Was that in
So
Unsolved Mysteries?
no, it was on 48 Hours Mystery or 48
Oh,
Hours ID channel, some shit. I can't
I
even think of his name.
I think on Netflix they started doing new Unsolved Mystery episodes, and I think that might be one of them. If you have Netflix, because what you're saying sounds so familiar. But go ahead,
Okay,
keep
so do
going.
you remember, like, okay, so the dad packed him up and the sister, and they moved, I think, to Florida or something.
Mhm.
God, this guy was a fucking psychopath. So he meets this really sweet lady in her family, and he gets like really close to them and stuff. And there was like a hurricane, so because she was visiting her niece down there. And for one, when he would hang out with her family, I think he even hinted to one of them, like, I know how to kill people and get away with it or
Oh
whatever. And her
wow.
family being naive and stupid, they just like brush it off like, oh, John's crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
So there was like a hurricane, and when the hurricane subsided, him and his wife decided to go visit her niece. So like they were getting into it, and I think she had told some other family members like, guys, don't come by because auntie and uncle so and so are having an argument or whatever. So
Mhm.
the other family members didn't come by. So they were
Right.
calling and calling and calling, and nobody was answering. Do you know that when they got to their doorstep, I think the lady said, she was like, I could tell that something was not right or whatever. They
Uh
went
huh.
in there. He had I think he chopped their heads off,
Oh my
hung
God.
herself. He even cut some of their breast off, like some of their titties was like in the sink. Like
Oh
it
my
was, he
God.
was a complete and total psychopath. And then I think they even interviewed his sister.
Uh-huh.
And she was just like, how she was afraid of him and she couldn't believe that her dad, didn't, get her brother any counseling. And they were saying like, because he killed himself too. And they were like, he's probably responsible for other murders in Florida, but now we'll never know because he
Right.
killed his wife and her family and killed himself.
What is it about Florida though?
Damn it. I cannot think of the name. I want to find that documentary so bad.
Where what did you see it on? Do you remember? Was it like YouTube or something?
Yeah, but I think it was on 48 Hours Mystery or something. I'm gonna find it.
I like 48 Hours too. I'm trying to think. There's another documentary on HBO called The Cheshire Murders. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's about these two young ladies that were at the store, and these two guys followed them home and realized that they lived in a big house, so they wanted to rob them, and they got into the house, and I want to say they hit the dad over the head with like I think it was a bat, and they like split him open, and then the wife, they made her go to the bank. Well, they took her and they held her like hostage to go to the bank and like make a withdrawal of money. And then when she got home, the daughter, one of the daughters had been raped, and then things got crazy once the cops started showing up. But instead of like trying to stop anything from happening, or I don't know what police procedure would be in that situation, but they took their sweet ass time, like setting up a perimeter and getting things ready, and before they knew it, the house was on fire.
And what's his name?
Who?
The guy that did it.
Oh, I can find out right now. The documentary was called Cheshire Murders. I bet if I just put that, it'll tell you.
You
Cheshire
know
like
what?
Cheshire cat. Hmm.
Did the dad kill his wife?
No,
The
he
guy's
was
dad? Okay, that's another one. That's
uh
a
pro-
different one I'm thinking of.
probably here. Let me share this new screen over here.
Look, guys, my phone is going dead, so I'm just gonna
Again.
listen from here on out.
All right, no problem. Thank you
Yeah,
so
my
much
phone is going
for.
dead, so I'm just gonna listen. Yeah, thank you
Okay,
so much for having me on, Ray.
absolutely, anytime. Let's.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and continue playing videos then, but I will talk to
Okay,
you
great.
soon.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
All right.
Alright, so let's go ahead and go back to this playlist that I was looking at. If y'all want to chat true crime, I'm here for it. I got 8 more videos to go, so I'll just go to the next one. It's going to be U.S. indicts 3 on hate crime charges in death of Ahmaud Arbery, and this is going to be courtesy of WSAV3. So this is an update on the Ahmaud Arbery case. He's the man that was gunned down by, well, essentially it was 2 men, and then the guy that was holding the camera, allegedly they thought he was robbing a house that was under construction, although there was never any proof of that. So I wanted to go ahead and make sure that I stay up to date on, any proceedings that might lead to like a trial, because I'm gonna want this. This is when I get the most information, I feel, is during trial. So who knows? We'll see if it's televised. If it is, I'll try to cover it. But in the meantime, let's watch this update. Okay, so that was that update on the Ahmaud Arbery case. Okay, and the next one is more of an educational clip that I found. It's called What's Up Weather with Jordan. How does the Aurora Borealis form? And this is going to be courtesy of WNCT-TV 9 on your side, probably. What's muted? Me? The video? Let me see. Maybe I didn't hit the share sound. Sorry, y'all. Maybe that's what happened. I'll go ahead and start it from the beginning. Let me know if you still have issues. Or I'll start it from like the part where it talks about how it's formed and all that. We'll skip her.
These beautiful lights can be seen right here on Earth. They are actually a direct result of space weather and its solar storms. Let's take a look at the big picture first before we talk about how the aurora forms. So there's the sun, Earth, and Earth's magnetosphere. Earth's magnetosphere is made up of an electric field that shields Earth from harmful solar events, more specifically solar wind. Now, solar wind is directly created by the sun. All this energy is constantly being released by the sun, which flows through space and approaches Earth's atmosphere. The sun is constantly releasing energy, but at times it will spit out a large amount of energy. This is called a coronal mass ejection, or CME for short. It is a solar storm. As a solar storm approaches Earth, energy travels along our Earth's magnetic field lines, and some make it as far south as both the Earth's poles. Once the charged particles interact with gases in our atmosphere, those bright shining lights bleed through the sky in an array of different colors. Aurora formation is quite complicated, but those beautiful lights are definitely a sight to see. One common misconception about the northern lights is that they are actually occurring at all times, but they are only visible during night hours. Thanks for tuning in. I'm meteorologist Jordan Jenna.
That's pretty cool. I always wanted to see the Aurora Borealis lights, but I think you have to go to like Alaska or something like that to see them. Alright, so we got 6 more clips to go, and then I think we'll be calling it a night unless somebody else wants to talk about true crime. It's called Together Again. Lost Florida dog reunites with owner in Indiana, found after a month-long search, and this is going to be courtesy of WTHR.
You know, over the years, we've shared stories about lost dogs finding their way back home, and this is that story with a bit of a twist.
Yeah, today our Mary Mills tells us how a Florida dog ended up in Indiana and how she was finally able to reunite with her owner 26 days later.
This is Cass, a beach-loving black German Shepherd. She lives in St. Augustine, Florida, with her best friend, Becca Williams. The two inseparable until April 1st, when Cass slipped out a back door and didn't come back. Live. Becca knew her well-trained pooch wouldn't run away. Something was wrong.
I was crying. I was so upset. I didn't know what to do.
She spent hours looking for Cass.
I'd put posters up called Vex shelters. I was on Facebook.
She heard a dog that looked like Cass was seen at a nearby gas station playing with a woman and her young daughter living in a van. They'd since left. Becca's Finding Cass page was getting lots of traction. She even tried psychics and offered a hefty reward with help from a GoFundMe page. Then nearly a month after Cass went missing, Becca gets a call from an Indiana woman. A relative of hers living in a van had just returned from St. Augustine with a stray dog. The woman knew the dog had to belong to someone, did some searching, saw the Finding Cass page, and called Becca, who was
Static. There's no words.
While the woman with Cass initially refused to give her up, she finally agreed. Sunday, Becca and her boyfriend left St. Augustine for the meeting point in Nashville, which then changed to Seymour. It was a 15-hour, 850-mile drive that led to this.
I just had chills. I was crying. It was just like the most pure moment I've ever had.
And Cass?
She like jumped on me and she was squealing and crying and just freaking out.
The drive home, the best ever for Becca and Cass.
She's been sleeping. Like this has been for the past 40 hours. This is all she's done is sleep. So I think she's finally like at peace.
Hell yeah, she was living in a van.
Dear Mom.
Like, why would you even do that if you're living in a van, taking a stray dog? And who even knows? Because they said that the gate was left open. Who knows? Maybe they even went in and tried to take it. It's pretty crazy. But I would do that for my dog if he ever went missing. I'm extra careful not to let that happen, though. That's literally, like, my worst nightmare come true. Well, I have 2 dogs now. Alright, so let's continue this playlist, and then I guess we'll call it a night after that. This next video is called Treasure Island Installs Sea Turtle Friendly Lighting, and that's going to be courtesy of 10 Tampa Bay.
Treasure Island's getting some new lighting, but it's not meant for the people that are living there. It's actually to help baby sea turtles during nesting season. They rely on the moonlight to help them get back into the water, but they can obviously become disoriented by some of the other glares. 10 Tampa Bay photojournalist Carter Schumacher found out how these new lights are going to work.
The city is very proactive in managing its lighting along the beach. We really care about our threatened and endangered sea turtle species. In 2017, we sent a request to the Florida Department of Transportation asking for a variance on Gulf Boulevard to be able to change out their white, bright LED streetlights to amber, more turtle-friendly lighting. Upon submitting that request and working with FDOT, we actually got them to change out their Florida design manual to allow for turtle-friendly lighting throughout the state on state highways. So that was really exciting for us.
Super
now that we
cute.
have the Florida design manual changed, Duke Energy came out and they installed 8 trial turtle-friendly LED street lights here on Gulf Boulevard at 112th Avenue in Treasure Island. Those lights have been shielded on both sides.
When they hatch from the nest, they're following all of those celestial lights. So it will be the moon and the stars. But when we have those brighter lights, those artificial lights behind the nest towards those buildings, it's going to confuse them and they're going to get disoriented. So they're going to go towards those buildings. That is why it's very important that we keep the beach as dark as possible.
Another really important feature of these lights is we're still providing enough illumination for Gulf Boulevard to keep that roadway safe for pedestrians and motorists as well.
It's very rewarding to see that we are heading the right direction, and it's been a really long process. We've been working with the towns for many years already, so seeing those changes happen is very rewarding, especially because that's was becoming one of our biggest issues, but hopefully we are changing that and moving forward for the right direction.
Well done to everyone. We're saving the turtles one step at a time. Those new lights, the amber lights, pretty cool. And FWC put out an interactive map that actually shows the Florida counties and municipalities with lighting ordinances for protection of the sea turtles. You can actually search for a specific address or a city, and the map can zoom in on that location. The diamonds that you see right here, they show all the municipalities. The stars represent each county that has an ordinance.
Well,
New at 5, the man acting as a bail agent.
Stop it. I was going to say, I'm all for saving the turtles. Thought that was really cute. That last turtle was gorgeous. Alright, so we got 4 more clips to look at. This next news clip is called Man Acting as Bail Agent Charged with Murder in Palm Springs Shooting, Woman Sought. And this is going to be courtesy of KESQ News Channel 3.
New at 5, the man acting as a bail agent in a shooting on Friday has been charged with murder. 36-year-old Fabian Herrera was taken into custody on Friday, and police say he shot and killed 33-year-old David Spann of Palm Springs while attempting to apprehend him. News Channel 3's Shelby Nelson has more on what he's facing and some of the newest information we're learning about Spann.
Fabian Hector Herrera, now behind bars and charged with murder. The Riverside County District Attorney also adding a sentencing enhancement because a gun was used. Still wanted is this woman. Investigators say Lisa Vargas helped Herrera, but no details on how. And now there's a warrant for her arrest. Officials say neither of them were licensed bail agents.
It was a man and a woman.
This neighbor says he saw a couple on the morning of the shooting.
A vehicle gets right behind me to follow me in and enter, and shortly after that they came to our door, and my wife spoke to them.
They asked your wife some questions. What types of questions were they asking?
If we knew David.
David is David Spann. This is where it all happened early Friday morning. Spann's family now shedding light on who he really was. Spann's family described the father of two as the best dad. They weren't ready to go on camera, but shared these images. They also say Spann was having trouble with his mental health. Days leading up to the shooting, Spann's family says they were in contact with Justice Bail Bonds based out of Temecula. I called. An attorney returned my call saying they had no comment. It's unclear whether they have a connection to Friday's death. Meantime, Herrera is scheduled to be arraigned Thursday. If convicted, he could face 50 years to life in prison. In Palm Springs, Shelby Nelson, News Channel 3.
The criminal complaint also details 2 prior strikes Herrera has in the state of California linked to 2 separate incidents of assault with a deadly weapon.
Okay, there's that clip. Let's continue on. The next one's called Advocate Says 911 Calls Turned into Death Sentence for Mario Gonzalez, and that's going to be courtesy of NBC Bay Area.
The death of Mario Gonzalez is now gaining national attention because of the similarities to the George Floyd case. Gonzalez's family wants the officers involved fired and charged. 2 911 calls touched off a series of events that led to Gonzalez's death, and that's something that community activists say has them concerned. Here's NBC Bay Area's Melissa Colorado.
He seems like he's tweaking, but he's not doing anything wrong. He's just scaring my wife.
That was the first 911 call made to Alameda Police last Monday. A neighbor reporting Mario Gonzalez was talking to himself and standing too close to his home. Another man dialed 911 to say Gonzalez was loitering and accused him of stealing alcohol from a nearby Walgreens.
I am really disappointed and ashamed that my neighbors put him in this position.
Janice Anderson is with Transform Alameda. After the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Transform Alameda was created to reimagine public safety on the island.
He needed an ambulance, some water, some food, and maybe someone to help him call his family.
A man hanging out in the park, regardless of the circumstances, turned into a death, and that's just. There's no reason for it and there's no excuse for it.
The city of Alameda requested an outside independent investigation by Louise Rennie, the former San Francisco city attorney. Alameda Mayor Marilyn Ezzy Ashcraft says until the findings of the investigation come out, it's too soon to fire the 3 officers involved who are on paid administrative leave.
I'm looking for ways that we can move forward, how policing can be improved.
The mayor says she supports a public safety alternative like Oakland's Macro program, which sends civilians with mental health training to handle nonviolent calls.
The community likes to think of us as this quiet little island, and it's safe for some people, but we need change. We need it now.
In Alameda, Melissa Colorado.
Okay, there's that clip. We got 2 more to go. Next one's called Kentucky Lawmaker Wants Swatting to be a Felony Crime Following March Incident in Georgetown, and that's going to be courtesy of LEX18. And swatting is, I'm sure everybody here knows what it is, but just in case somebody's watching this on playback and doesn't know, it's when people know your address, and if you're a live streamer like I am, they'll call the cops or whoever and say that there's an emergency situation here, someone's being held hostage, whatever, something like that, and then they break through your door or whatever, and they, before you know it, you're on the ground, your pets are dead, and all kinds of fucked up shit happens. But let's go ahead and watch this clip and see what they're talking about over here.
LEX18 recently showed you video of a dramatic swatting incident in Scott County that easily could have turned deadly.
The brave victims spoke about that terrifying ordeal in the hope that swatting could become a serious crime with real consequences.
It worked. They caught one lawmaker's attention. Evening Edition's Lee Searcy explains what happens next in this LEX18 Investigates.
Keep your hands up. Okay.
That's the crazy and chaotic scene after someone's idea of a joke.
I just shot my mom.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I just shot my mom.
But there was nothing funny about it the night deputies swarmed a Scott County couple's home after an unknown person falsely reported a homicide here.
Come on out, ma'am. No, ma'am, you're coming out now.
This so-called prank called swatting, all at the emotional expense of the victims.
I was petrified. I said, what is going on here?
Just come on out, honey. Come on out.
Oh my gosh, what is this?
I'll be honest, after watching that video, I've already contacted my staff, and we are reaching out to the Judiciary Committee.
State Representative Philip Pratt is ready to act.
And I'm going to draft a bill that makes swatting a felony here in Kentucky, because it could have turned out much worse.
He says he's already reached out to several lawmakers who didn't know a dangerous prank like this was not considered a felony in Kentucky. In fact, he says some fellow lawmakers didn't know what swatting was.
A couple of us were going to clear your house.
As it is now, it's considered a low-level crime of falsely reporting an incident, a misdemeanor, since no one was hurt.
Yeah, to me that's a joke.
100%. This should be a felony. This should be a felony crime.
No argument from Representative Pratt, who plans to introduce a bill at the next session of the General Assembly in early 2022.
They all are very much in support of this. I see this being a very good bipartisan bill that I can't imagine anyone not voting for.
Let me see your hands, please.
As pointed out by law enforcement, swatting also puts first responders in danger and wastes valuable time that could be spent helping someone in a real emergency.
I thought our Sheriff's Department did a great job in diffusing a very, very dangerous situation.
A situation that never should have happened.
It's fine. They're just doing their job, honey.
You could just hear it in their voices, and as they walked out, they were scared to death. This shook those people to the core, and it's something we need to take very seriously. And we need to put some bite into the law that stops people from doing this.
In Scott County, Lee Searcy, LEX18 News.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've never been raided either, but it does look terrible. I don't know if you're familiar with what happened in Houston with the Hardy Street botched raid, but that was an unfortunate event as well, and I don't even think they're going to do anything about it. Chief Art Acevedo went to, I think, Miami. He's not even the chief there anymore. And they said that he was supposed to come back for any updates on that situation, and I don't know. Let's see how long it takes for them to even bring it up again. So we have one more clip to go, and unless somebody wants to call in or chat, whatever, I'm here. We're going to go ahead and watch this and I guess call it a night unless something else. So this is called Long Beach Mother Kiwana Weaver dies during plastic surgery from unlicensed doctor in Mexico, and that's going to be courtesy of ABC 7.
Verizon Business Unlimited starts with America's most reliable.
After this ad, just 1 second. This is probably like the first ad I've had all night. Go, go, go.
A plastic surgery tragedy under investigation. A Long Beach woman and her friend went to get tummy tucks in Mexico. She died and her friend barely survived. Thanks again for joining us here on ABC 7, Hulu Live, and wherever you stream. I'm Ellen Leyva.
Good night, David Dono. It's a heartbreaking time for the family of the woman who died, and they want to warn others. The plastic surgeon did not have a license.
As Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes tells us, he operated on a third woman that same day who still has not recovered.
Kiwana Weaver was told it would be a simple 4-hour procedure, a tummy tuck and some other cosmetic work. She and a close friend both signed up and headed down to Tijuana to the Art Silhouette Aesthetic Surgery Clinic. But her friend ended up hospitalized for 2 weeks, and Kiwana died on the operating table.
I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Dalisha Smith was with Kiwana that January day. She's engaged to Kiana's brother, Keyshawn Robbins, and had to break the news to him and to Kiana's mother, Yolanda Weaver.
this just destroyed our family.
Weaver says she wants to warn people about the Tijuana clinic, saying the doctor who worked on her daughter is not a licensed plastic surgeon. And according to the San Diego Union Tribune, a third woman also fell seriously ill that day after plastic surgery at the clinic. She's now suffering from kidney failure. Eyewitness News was unable to reach Dr. Jesus Manuel Baez Lopez. His voicemail was full and our email was not answered. The clinic's website today offline, but its Instagram account is still active. Weaver says the clinic never pronounced Kiana dead and never reported her death to the U.S. Embassy.
They just discarded my daughter like she was a piece of trash. No one still has called me to say, oh, you know, I'm sorry.
Weaver says an autopsy determined Kiana died from a heart attack and blood clotting issues. Kiana's 2 children now left with no mother, and her baby brother robbed of his best friend.
I'm lost. I tell my mom every day, Mom, I'm lost. What do you mean? I just don't know what to do no more.
But Weaver is on a mission. She wants to get her daughter's story out there so other people know the dangers of discount plastic surgery outside the U.S. and the ultimate price you may end up paying.
Don't do it because it's not worth it. All I can say is I'm going to keep fighting. I have to be her voice, and I want her voice heard.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm going to say don't do it. It's not worth it. You know, especially if they're saying things like discount, you know, and that's just crazy to go to Tijuana to get plastic surgery. I'm not surprised at all that it came out bad. It's truly unfortunate. I hope that they do something about that, though. I'm not too sure how it works, though, considering it's you know, Mexico. Good night, Danielle. Thank you so much for being here. It was so good seeing you here in the chat. Yeah, so I guess that's the show, you all. Unless somebody wants to tell me about a true crime story I should look up, I can go ahead and do that. Or maybe I could find one to talk about. Let me see. I've been wanting to tell this one story. Maybe this is something that I need to do, like, good night, Black D Spider. I think next time, whenever I do a case, I think I want to work on the Mitrice Richardson story, because it's pretty crazy if you never heard of her. I was going to actually ask Black and Bougie if she's heard of this case, because she seems to know a lot about this. But Crown Empress was here earlier, and she says that she's going to try to go live tomorrow. I'll try to go live tomorrow too. If I don't, then I will see you over there in her chat. Thank you very much, everybody, for stopping by. Black D Spider, Danielle Williams, Black and Bougie, thank you so much for calling in. That was so much fun. Emmanuel Briggs, always good to see you. Observing Stuff, thank you so much. Lisa, let's see who else. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support. Any donations, the smallest, you know, gesture is so much appreciated. Just hit the like for me. Get these videos out so we can get these stories out. Patricia Jackson, thank you so much for being here, and I think that's gonna be a wrap. I'm working on an outro video too, so maybe finishing up would be a little more seamless, you know, finishing up. Anyways, thank you so much, everybody. I will see you soon. Good night.